Hi, everybody. Welcome,
Welcome
back.
to Chess Club. This is where...
Chess Club?
What? Where are we? Where am I?
Yes, we're welcome to our actual play chess game.
We could do that. That sounds fun.
We're just the pawns of the gods when you think about it.
True.
No, on Relaxing in Paradise this Thursday, me and Alex will just play chess while we talk about his trap module. I mean, we actually are going to talk about his trap module, but all right, folks, welcome back. Last we met, the Wayward Five prepared to take on an ambush from the Pale Covenant, a cultist group devoted to the chained god Drake, known as Herfost. They prepared for this onslaught because of a vision granted to Curon the night prior by a goat person wandering the swamps, calling themselves a Gubrari. The organization, the Pale Covenant, was thought long dead since the Morasir conflict, after their goddess was captured and imprisoned as punishment for killing the moon goddess Ilyuvania, Curon's goddess. The five approached carefully, with Wiswick and Timber in flanking positions, attempting to set off their own ambush. Scarlet tensely waited inside the wagon as Curon slowly entered the glade as bait. As the tensions reached a peak, Curon could hear the arrows soaring toward the cart. He cast blade barriers, sending them scattering. The enemies slowly poured out and continued their onslaught as Timber and Wiswick tried to find their vantage point. The battle was fierce and saw both blade and spell traded, including animated corpses and giant crocodiles, or Curadiles. Though there were some setbacks during the fight, the party struggled, but ultimately defeated these foes, but not without loss. In the final moments of the fight, a massive, undead creature swiped its claws across the unconscious Scarlet's throat. The glade quieted as the creature's last shrieks faded upon being killed. Alone in the darkened mire, our heroes gathered around the now dead Scarlet. Curon attempted a divine intervention with aid from Wiswick's pleas to a forgotten god. Our Elysian cleric pleaded with Ilyuvania to return Scarlet's soul to her body. But no such miracle came to their aid. The cold crept into the still air of this salt marsh, in the long darkness of the winter months, as our heroes bowed their heads in grief. This is where we left off last. What would you like to do?
Looking up from Scarlet's still body to his two companions, Curon hurriedly goes, "Wait, Oriel, he can help us. He helped me. It's a lot to ask, but we need to bring Scarlet back. We can't continue without her."
Yeah, let's go. Let's give it a try. Where is he?
We have to, and Curon at this point will start to get Scarlet back up and look at the cart. That doesn't have a horse. He's gonna look around. Does he see the zombie horse?
Oh, that's right. You didn't kill the zombie horse.
No. It was turned, and I haven't technically attacked the zombie horse, so who knows where it is.
Yeah. Give me a perception check.
Me, perception. Scoff.
But,
22.
Okay, so you drag Scarlet's body out of the water. I imagine, Timber, you help Curon out of the water because it is quite deep and he is still quite injured. You lay her down. You imagine, tend to the gash across her neck. that's still profusely bleeding. Kieran, with a 22, you do see off in the distance, now no longer afraid, just sort of standing there blankly, about 60 feet away, is the undead horse.
Kieran, I can run.
What?
I can run to Oriel.
Yes, do that, and we'll meet you halfway. And then Kieran's gonna whistle for the zombie horse.
Yeah, Timber will assume we'll form and run.
And dart back. Okay.
Yeah.
Kieran, give me an animal handling check with advantage, actually.
Ooh, 18.
18. Okay. As you do so, the horse, looking a lot more lethargic than a living horse, it just sort of like slowly turns its head towards you. Slowly starts to clock towards you. What do you do?
It's slow. What would you
Right
say?
now.
It's... Oh, okay. Kieran will shouting to it. Come on, boy or girl. I don't think we ever really established your name or anything. Come on, we've got a job to do.
Okay. The horse does come up to you and like kind of stands up right in front of you, and it raises its head at you, and just sort of, it doesn't make any noises, it doesn't neigh. It just looks blankly at you.
I'm gonna shoot a message over to him. Governor Clay.
Are you gonna do sending?
Yeah,
They're further
no,
back than.
no,
than
I have the
100 feet.
cantrip message. It's 120 feet.
They're further back than 120 feet.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I'll just hop on my golem and start heading back that way.
Okay. What do you do, Kieran?
So forget a lot that Kieran has one arm. Is it feasible for Kieran to lift Scarlet with one arm, throw her over the rump of the zombie horse with one arm, and then climb up himself and ride back with one arm? You can say no.
It would be very difficult.
Okay.
It's doable. It's just going to be like a lot of like,
Mm-hmm.
and like dragging, and you're going to be exhausted by the end of it. Not exhaustion point.
Right.
You can do it. It's just going to take a while.
Yep. Yeah. So that's what Kieran's gonna do.
Okay.
Maybe Timber can help with that.
Timber already
ran off.
Timber ran back to go get Oreo.
Maybe I should have helped with that.
Maybe.
I don't know. I can't do much.
Golem could. Kieran, something. You have a peculiar command over this horse. It's undead. It seemed to ally itself with the other creatures that attacked you. But the longer you spend time with it, the more normal it seems. It doesn't stop being undead. You can get a very clear necrotic sense from it. But it seems as though you have some sway of influence over it. As you finally are able to get yourself on. That was actually probably the hardest part. Probably harder than getting Scarlet up there.
Right.
Was getting yourself up there. But you succeed. We can start heading that way too.
Come on, boy. Or, come on. We have to get back. Yeah.
Okay. You begin heading back. Timber, you would get back at this point, and you would see Oriel kind of just sitting in the front as some of his retainers are tending to the cart, as he's just got his legs up and looking up around. Kind of, he spots you and stands up the cart and waves you down.
Timber immediately rushes over, turning into a hybrid as he staggers forward.
Where are the others?
Oriel, come quick. Scarlet, she. Her heart beats.
You don't even need to continue. He immediately whistles to his servants, who jump into the cart, and he starts moving. You can jump on the cart with him, or you can rush back in wolf form.
Timber would rush back in wolf form.
Okay. You would meet up with Wiswick first, as you're heading back, and then as you push through the swamps further, eventually you would all be reunited. Oriel will pull the horses back to stop them and immediately rush off of the horse and run over to you, Kieran. Hesitate for a moment as he sees the undead horse that has arrows sticking in it still. So what happened?
We were ambushed, as I saw, but they overpowered us. My magics, they weren't. Frost has power here, but Scarlet, she went down, and I was... Please, Oriel, please. And at this, Kieran will, kind of fall off the horse more than get off.
Yeah.
And then, motioning to her body. What you did for me, can you do it for her? I beseeched Ilivania, but... there was no answer.
Timber, get her off that horse. Bring it to the cart. To the back.
Okay.
And Oriel would go and help you as well.
Yeah.
And you would bring her body back and lay it out in the back of the cart. Timber.
What do you need?
Tend to those wounds. Tend to those wounds.
I immediately will.
And you see Oriel looks more scared than he did when you saw him with Huron, when he was resurrecting Huron. You imagine it could be because he's terrified of losing more of his own life, potentially, or also he just feels less confident, potentially. All right. You see he puts his hands on her cheeks, kind of one hand holding down the wound on her neck as Timber starts to tend to it. He begins to mutter under his breath. For a long time.
Pushing forward, Kieran's like, what's going on? Is it working? Or is he...
Kieran, give him space.
Yeah. What's going on? Did it take this long when he did this for me?
Yes, Kieran, please. Timber will put
Is there anything I can do?
Kieran, just stay back.
This is all my fault. I saw the ambush and I still thought we should go into it. What's taking so long? Oriel.
Well, while this is happening, Wiswick is taking the practical approach and checking the area for more enemies, and just making sure all the bodies are actually dead.
Yeah. Give me a perception check or investigation check.
By the way, I don't have the golem as a heads up because it broke in the last session.
That's right. Okay. Then yeah, you wouldn't have been helped getting Scarlet on then. Alright, yeah, the golem is gone for now. Okay. What'd you get on that perception check?
10.
10?
But if it was an investigation check, it would be much better.
It could be an investigation. I said perception or investigation.
Okay. Then it is a 19.
Okay. You notice that a lot of the undead bodies are deteriorating away quickly, like they had been alive for a while, or like raised for a while, and now are rapidly decaying. The light is out in the eyes of that orc. His face is smashed in. There's nothing left there. Tower is pulled down. You seem to be safe for now, at least from these ambushers. You don't notice any signs of other attackers. The only thing you do notice is there are still red, white, and black ravens in the trees that seem to be still watching you.
Can I immediately just like take some pot shots at them?
Absolutely.
Great. You said there were 3 ravens, or those are just
No, those are just the colors they are. There are.
Okay.
It's like a whole flock up in the trees.
All right, I have a fireball. I shoot it.
Okay.
Sorry.
As Huron, you're watching frustratingly as Oriel is just praying and praying and praying and praying under his breath. It feels like it's taking hours, even though probably only minutes is going by. You all would see a burst of light as Wiswick's fireball goes off, and then you'd hear flocks, dozens and dozens of ravens now fly out of the trees and up into the sky, darkening the sky even more than it was before, making it feel not like you're safer because they're gone, making it feel more ominous as they circle up above now. This red and black and white twister above you.
I love the timing of the crow caw in the music. I look at the two of them, and after casting the spell, and point upwards and say, "Guys, we're still not safe here. They might have more reinforcements. We've got to do something. Like, we can't leave Scarlet here."
Well, we agree on that, but we can't disturb Oriel while he's working.
I'm tapped out. I don't have much. If the enemies come, I don't know if I can handle all of them.
Just buy him more time. Just, I don't know. Just find something.
Wiswick continues to frantically shoot chill touches up into the sky to try and shoot the birds down, and keeps an eye like on everything. He sends Jed out to patrol the area.
Mm-hmm. He continues to pray under his breath, and it's becoming more frantic and desperate at this. As you can see, his hands kind of shaking now around Scarlet. Timber, you would remember the last time he did this, there was signs of it working. You saw that life force coming off of him into Huron. This is not happening this time.
Timber is going to like lean over to him while he's and try to be a little hush hush, be like, Oriel, I know what this does. Just, are you sure you want to do this?
You see his hands are shaking as you're kind of close by, and you can see his eyes looking back as Huron is watching. I don't know if I can.
What's that?
It's not working.
Do
Get
you
on
need...
that now.
What can I do to help? I still have some magic familiar Vanya left. Is there anything I can do?
He kind of closes his hands together in tight fists away from her face. It's not working.
Gems. Do you have gems? There's a spell. I think I need time to prepare it, but with the right components, I could bring her back. I don't know if it's the same as what you did to me, but it could still technically work.
What about these necromancers? Do you think they might have gems on them? How do they animate the dead?
Huron is going to spit in disgust on the ground and then say, "The Pale Covenant would not have such gems, such goods. The
How
magic
is-
of hair frost.
It's not good out here!
They're just crows, Wiswick. The undead are gone. The cultists, for the moment, are gone. But maybe. And Kieran's going to, just straight up dropping his staff at this point, stumble over and start searching through the dead cultists.
Give me an investigation roll.
15?
15, okay. You do find mixed matches of components. There are a few gems, but nothing that you recognize is typically part of resurrection spells. Just stuff that's part of dark necromancy. Obsidian, other loose, peculiar components, worms, old petrified bark. You'd find the glaive of the orc. You'd find all manner of things but the diamonds you might need.
Kieran snaps the glaive in half and tosses it into the swamps, along with other. As he finds things, he's just throwing them aside. And then he looks up at the Dragonborn and the Tabaxi that are well dressed in the trees. Those two, up there. Can we get them down?
I could get them done.
Please, hurry.
Timber's going to scale the tree and just cut them down with ink spell.
Yeah, Wiswick would probably shoot them down if that takes too long.
Oh, it'd probably be faster.
You
Yeah.
get them down easily enough. Kieran, I will note one thing, that when you were held the glaive and snapped it in half, the haft in half, it like burned your hands a little bit as you were holding it.
Sean, I have a question for you.
Sure.
One of my spell components is the statuette I created for my contingency spell. It's carved from ivory and decorated with gems worth at least 1,500 gold pieces. So I don't know if those gems are diamonds or not.
I also
I
have
don't-
a Hero's Feast Bowl with 1,000. That's worth 1,000 gold pieces as crusted gems.
I don't think I specified. I might have mentioned that they were something else, but
I would imagine that yours are not all diamonds. There may be some diamonds in there. Do you have any resurrection spells prepared?
Me? I don't have any prepared at the moment, no.
Okay, you're just scrounging for it. Okay,
Right.
potentially use them on a different day.
Right.
Okay, so I'd say the bowl is worth 1,000. You said.
Yes.
I mean, I'd say like most of that cost is the diamonds. Yeah,
Okay.
The bowl itself is probably well made, but not worth hundreds of gold. So I'd say you could, if you broke all the diamonds off of that, you would be at least 900 gold worth of diamonds.
So I will say, Hero's Feast does not specify what type of gemstones are on the bowl. It simply says a gem encrusted bowl worth at least 1k gold, which the spell consumes. Now,
Okay.
clerics, tend to use diamonds a lot. for
I
their
would
spells.
say that you would have picked diamonds for that.
Okay.
Wiswick, what's your favorite gem?
I usually like the colorful ones. I have a lot of rubies on me, so it could just be. I originally planned on using the gems as eyes, so I have white eyes, so that could be a diamond.
two diamonds. Okay. How much is the total miniature worth?
1,500 gold pieces.
Oh, okay.
I only need 500 for the spell I'm looking for.
Which spell are you looking to use?
Raise Dead.
Oh, Raise Dead. That's right. I always forget about Raise Dead.
We literally talked
Revivify is
about this.
300.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's already
Uh,
too late for Revivify.
Yeah, by this point it's too late for Revivify. All right, I'd say you have enough diamonds to do a raised edge.
Okay. Well, those bodies though. Anything on them?
Oh, sorry, I totally forgot. Give
No, it's
me
okay.
a investigation check.
Ooh, 23.
Ooh, 119.
Yeah, now I get the rolls I need. Now I'm trying to make a con save or a deck save.
They are covered in a lot of gems. In their what's left on them, there was gems left on them to showcase their opulence. They seem to have been targeted particularly for their wealth. Anything of advanced value, though, seems to have been stripped from them by the cultist at some point. And
There are things of value.
yes,
Okay. The player in me will take the things of value.
okay. There is 58 golds worth of valuable things on the first one,
Okay.
and 82 golds worth of valuables in the second one.
All right. So is there anything else on those bodies besides just valuables that I might have stumbled across with the 23? Letters, notebooks.
There doesn't seem to be much else on them. I'd say on one of them, you would find a. Actually, no. Anything besides like useless rings that they deemed necessary to just demonstrate their opulence. Their clothes are very nice. You could take some of that if you wanted to. One has a very nice cloak on him. But no, like truly, like the cult took not just valuables, but any sense of what was left of them as people.
Getting up from the bodies, Karen remembers his gem-encrusted bowl and goes, "Wait. If I just take the time to prepare the spells, we should head out now. Can someone lead Rocco in this one here?" And he kind of absently pets the zombie horse. "While we head into town, I need some time in the carriage to prepare my spells."
Imagine Wiswick was already like doing that, and he's like, "That's what I've been saying." He's just like quickly getting ready to get on the cart and go.
Yeah.
Before Timber responds to Kieran, Timber is going to look back at Oriel and
He hasn't moved from that spot right now, just head in his hands.
Oriel, give yourself a rest. You did what you could. Look, I don't know how often you deal with the dead, but I can preserve the body so that it does not decay or bloat.
I just don't understand, Timber. I worked with Kieran.
And you gave up so much for it. I'm not sure you could give up anymore right now.
What did you say to me, Oriel? The gods do not work for us. Yes.
Look, let's get back to
Forgive an old fool for thinking a little more hope than usual. And he'll get up and go over to his retainers and order them to go begin preparing the other cart with the with Rocco and Rigor Mortis.
Timber.
He already has a name, by the way, but...
Timber, before leaving Scarlet's body, he's gonna take her hammer and then put it on her chest, and then put her hand on her hammer. And then he's going to take the reins of the 2 horses and lead them.
Oriel will help Kieran into the cart and begin preparing that cart to move as well.
I want to make sure we are bringing Scarlet's body with us, right?
It's in the back of the
Okay.
cart.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he was praying, he made
in the cart.
Right.
Timber bring her to one of the beds in the back of the
Okay. Just want to make sure.
wagon. That we're just in the middle of the road. We
Yep.
left her nicely.
Peace.
We made
Yeah.
her look nice, and we had a
Yeah.
moment, but we left her in the middle of the road of the Driders. So, Kieran, would you want to be sitting in the back with Scarlet or in the front with Oriel?
Probably in the back, and he's going to try to trance for 4 hours to then get to take a long rest so he can prepare new spells.
Okay.
Yeah, I would like to try and take a short rest as well, so I can use my arcane recovery to get some spell slots back on the road.
You can definitely do that. So you begin to move. As you do so, and once you're under cover of the canopy, the crows begin to disperse. And you see them flying in all which directions. Timber, give me, since you're the only one outside of a cart, really, give me a perception check.
$26.
You would notice these crows through the branches. They all turn back to black as they're scattering away. Until they're all gone.
Bye-bye, crows.
They're replaced. The chorus of caws from the ravens and crows drifts back to the doldrums of the swamp. As you would notice the familiar life returning to the swamp, the further away from that spot you get. As if those necromancers themselves were causing life to retreat from that space. You're going for a few hours as you're approaching that final 4th hour of Kieran's short rest or trance. The sun begins to set. And that's where we will transition over to Scarlet.
Ooh.
What?
Oh,
So
the light's so
spooky.
bright. Oh,
Oh,
the blurriness.
no.
Oh,
Where
damn
am
it.
I?
where
gotta
am
turn
I?
My camera. Can I turn
I
it
can't see
off and back
anything.
on for a second?
Oh, it's so bright. Cover it.
That's exactly what's happening.
Alex, can I turn it off and back on again?
Sure.
That fixes it.
Yeah. Boop, boop.
Just mess up the.
There you go.
I don't know why it does that.
It has to
I don't
adjust
know.
for
I don't know
exposure.
what it's.
It's light exposure.
Scarlet.
Yes.
Everything went dark for you. You felt nothing. You feel a cool breeze across your face. Suddenly, the darkness you see is just your eyes closed. You feel them quivering. You feel no pain. You feel light. What do you do?
I open my eyes. What do I see?
Purple clouds of a sunset. Sounds of crickets, birds. You feel the scratchiness of tall grass beneath you. You're lying down. Purple and pink clouds.
I'll sit up slowly.
As you sit up, you look around. You're in a field of sorts on a hill. There's stone pillars all around you. Old and withered, some various colors. You look beyond them and there are countless stone pillars all around, or stone archways, I should say. In the central circle, there's just grass. There's grass growing between these, but they all radiate out concentric circles around this spot. And that's when you notice directly across from you, sitting on a large rock, an old man, or older man, maybe in his 50s or 60s. Real simple shepherd's clothes, a staff, a long beard, a bald head, runic tattoos across his head.
I'll shakily stand up and look to the old man and say, "What is this place?"
You don't remember how you got here? The last thing you remember is the night. The last thing you remember is going into is in the cart, riding up to the battle, the ambush. You see, he looks to you, and he seems to have been kind of just tossing a rock in his hand, and he kind of lets it drop. He looks over. Ah, you are awake.
I don't remember falling asleep.
If you do,
Where am I?
I'll admit, you woke up quicker than your friend, Huron.
You know Kieran?
I've spoken with him.
How do you know Kieran?
He visited me a little while ago. I visited him too.
Would I
Took
know
a lot
who this
out
is?
of me. Kieran, did you ever tell the party about the Wayward One?
I want to say no. I definitely didn't talk about my second meeting with him. But I don't think he might have mentioned it in passing in that way that he does, but he did not specifically say hey, when I died I met the Wayward One. He's a cool guy. He's cool. So, definitely didn't say that.
So, defining features, Scarlet, you would see what Kieran saw, the chains at his wrists and ankles that float up to nothing. You don't know who it is.
What is your name?
I have many names. And you see he sits and thinks for a moment. You might know me as your friend has called me, I believe. Adric. You have heard Huron call the Wayward One Hatred.
piecing all that together. Scarlett's eyes get wide. Am I dead?
Scott. Yes, I am sorry.
No. Can you send me back?
It is not in my power. But I am here to welcome you into this new place.
What is this place?
This is the away station. Place where all come before they move on.
But I don't want to move on. I want to go back. I have things that I need to do. I'm not finished yet. My friends are there. We have a mission.
I understand the anxiety that may be gripping you right now. But I am not your ultimate shepherd. You are to wait here for your shepherd.
I don't want to wait here. I want to go back. I want to go back to my friends.
There is no way back.
There's got to be a way back. Huron came back. He's there right now. Did you help him back? You lying to me?
I did not help him back. He was pulled back by something else. Nothing on this side can help you back. Only the other side.
I'll sit down again. How long will I be waiting?
It is uncertain. Depends on your depends on who patrons you. Some stay here. And if we wait too long, you will stay here. But I will make sure you are comfortable until the next stage comes. And you kind of hear now beyond him, like, the sounds of a village. And you see the donkey next to him now that has been there the whole time.
So
He gets
I
up and goes and sits across from you.
Am I just supposed to sit here and wait then?
Yes. A lot of death is waiting.
I didn't get to fix my promise to my brother.
In time, you will learn to let go of such things.
How can I let that go? I'll never forget it.
I would advise to, whatever life is beyond this for you, to be open to letting these sorts of things go. It makes death a lot easier.
But I promised him I would come after him. And then I never said it out loud, but I promised myself that I would fix whatever was wrong with him.
That's life. I made many promises beyond this place as well. Scarlet, Rowan. But life is messy, incomplete. No one is ever finished. It's a great lie when you're alive that you cannot die until your work is done. The work is never done. We all die incomplete. That is not wrong or bad. At times, we don't get to choose them. Time seems to pass. It's dull, and boring, and painful. For a moment, you feel like you drift away to sleep a little. You wake up here and there, and it feels so long. The sun never sets, though. It does get a little darker. Dark enough where torchlight is necessary. The sun seems so far away. But still light. No dark star here. No cold. He never leaves your side.
I suppose no one's coming for me then. I don't blame them. I wouldn't want me either.
The gods are not as numerous as they once were. They are far from here, and not as strong as they once were. It can take time.
I don't want to wait anymore. I want... I get up and start walking. I don't finish my sentence.
As you get up to start walking, what direction do you walk in?
Towards the sunset.
You start to walk towards the sunset, and it feels like the sunset is getting further away from you as you walk towards it. You pass these stone pillars, put your hands on them. You may even pass through some of them. But every 50 feet or so, you feel like you are starting over. About your third trek through this 50 feet of space. You kind of frustrated look, and he's walking next to you.
It's
Donkey
not
in
getting
tow.
Closer. Why is it not getting closer? Do things just not make sense here?
Yeah, they make sense as they are supposed to here. You will not be able to leave this circle until all. And he chooses his words carefully here. Until there is no claim.
I mean, it's been forever. I don't think anyone's coming. I didn't worship anyone. I was not devout like Kieran.
There is no devotion needed for claim. For you lived your life. Values. What you loved. Who you loved.
Do I-
Not all places are for worship.
Do I have my memories back? Do I or let me? I'll ask this. Do I remember Caleb and my mother?
No. Come. Back to the center. You hungry?
No.
He leads you back if you're willing to go back.
I'll follow.
And when you get back, there's now a fire in the middle. This warm fire. There's a boiling pot of water. As he pours some tea. We will wait. It keeps going on. You finish the tea. You feel like you fall asleep again. And you awake to what feels like shining light in your face. And one of these stone pillars has a portal in it now. He looks to you. It looks like you've been claimed.
By who?
I do not know. I only wait with you and ease your mind.
Do I have to go?
Yes.
Now?
Could wait a little bit, but there's only one way to go.
She wouldn't go right away. I think she would sit and stare at it for a little while.
One more
Okay.
cup of tea.
Do I see anything in the portal?
It is color of the portal is bronze.
Would that mean anything to me? Shannon knows, but would Scarlet know?
Give me a insight check.
12.
Not in this moment.
Curiosity getting the better of her now, and finally having something to do. She'll put down the teacup and look at Hadric and say, "Thank you for eating with me."
I wish for happiness and peace for you, Rowan Dumaine.
Will you watch over my brother and my friends?
I only watch over those who come to my fields. I do not wish to distress you, but their fates are in their own hands. You may see them again someday, potentially.
I thought you said there was no way back.
There isn't. Everyone dies.
She'll stand up, take a very deep breath, and step through.
Okay.
For every button.
For every button.
Dragonborn.
Dragonball.
Almost pressed on the wrong song.
For every button. put my button like that.
You step through, and that bronze light envelops you, and blinds you for a moment. And you need to push through it, as it feels like it almost has a wind pushing you back, until you breach the seal. You open your eyes on the other side. You're in a cave.
Do I recognize
Tunnel.
the cave / tunnel?
No, but you do see veins of minerals all throughout it. Silver, iron, bronze. Not bronze, copper.
Are they like leading forward?
Yeah. There's elegantly made sconces in the walls holding bronze fire.
Okay, I'll very carefully walk forward.
You step through these tunnels until you eventually see them widen and open up to a large space. There's the same bronze light in here in the torches. There's also a pool of magma in the middle of the chamber. Just massive, massive chamber. Hundreds and hundreds of feet up, hundreds of feet wide, circular. You see flows of magma from 4 rivers flow into this central pool. In the center of the pool is what appears like a tower. At the top of the tower is a creature. Massive, perched at the peak of it, tail wrapped all the way down the base, a wing wrapped around its body. You see scintillating bronze scales underneath, black iron that has almost been fastened to his body. Crouched head hanging sallow at the top of the tower. At first you think it's pierced on a spike. As you can see a bronze dragon of massive proportions. Long snout. What appears to be a beard coming off of the chin. On the eyes you would see there's like a strap around the head of the dragon with a lens on one of the eyes. They're perched there and they're not speaking right now as you're approaching.
I walk up to the edge of the pool, the magma pool. Does Scarlet know who this is?
Yes. This is Fierce Soul, the Smith dragon,
Do I have my hair?
god of
with
your
me?
father.
Do I have anything with me?
You've nothing with you.
I stare at Fierce Soul, look like watching for any signs of movement or recognition that I'm there.
You hear deep breath. As the chamber's quiet right now. You see tunnels that lead off of this chamber with hewn stone around them and all these veins of ore leading up to a central point at the tip where you can see a very, very small circular window with very faint light pouring down from it. Daylight that just sort of It's choked out before it can even reach anything in the chamber. What do you do?
I'd like to go wait in a tunnel and listen for movement. I don't want to stand out in the open.
Okay. As you move towards this tunnel, your footsteps echo in the chamber. And as you're getting closer, the more you move towards it, the louder your footsteps seem to be. You start to hear Fierce Soul stirring. You keep going?
Yeah.
Okay. You enter into one of these tunnels. You almost you get like panicked as you keep moving towards it and move quicker and quicker as the sounds of Fierce Soul go quicker. And despite knowing that this is a god, it's still a dragon. And you get into the tunnel. What do you do once you're in the tunnel?
Just like flatten myself against the wall and just listen.
You hear
Who's there? Who is there?
as you can hear Fierce Soul climbing down from the perch.
Okay.
No soul has come here in years. Who is there? Friend or foe?
At
Who
that,
comes?
at that, I'll step out of the tunnel. Friend.
Before you can step out of the tunnel,
Yeah.
if you turn to start to look, someone grabs you from behind with a hand over your mouth. No. What? As you can look and see, Fierce Soul has turned, and you can see the full form of Fierce Soul. And you can see, while there's this bronze dragon, you can see this powerful, muscular, draconic form. At his shoulder, of the arm and wing you didn't see, you can see that the flesh was severed at some point. There's just constructed arm and wing there that of bronze, pure bronze. It just sort of clashes down, and he pulls himself down. You can see he lands in the magma that does not harm him. It splashes up, and you can see it singe and cool as he's just sort of writhing around in a frantic pursuit.
Who's there?
I would like to struggle against this person who's holding me. Try and break the grapple.
Okay. Do you turn and try to look at them?
Yeah.
You see someone with bronze skin, like it looks like metallic bronze. They look like a human, though. They have a white beard, sort of parted hair. It's not too long. These brilliantly bright yellow eyes, and they're just wearing smith's clothes. They're wearing a smith's apron. They're in that kind of full regalia, and they're just holding you.
He's not in his own mind. We do not want him to find you.
Did I break the grapple?
You can go ahead and give me a athletics or acrobatics check.
Acrobatics. 25.
You break free.
Okay.
What do you mean he's not in his right mind? It's a dragon.
Trust me, just come with me. There's others. Yes. We served Fierce Soul a time ago, but he is not well. He has judged all souls who come here to the scrap pile. Come, he is the only fate for your soul.
I don't know you. Why should I trust you? I know who that is.
And I'll...
Just listen, don't go out there, just listen for a moment.
I'm out.
So as you're stepping out there, each step you take, your soul doesn't see you, and he's just kind of thrashing around. Every trial, there is nothing but loss and pain, and you souls, you mortals, keep coming to me. No more anvil, no more fire in the forge. As he sees you.
Friend. I'm a friend.
As he's getting closer and closer, as he gets closer, you see the titanic scale of this dragon. As you see, he kind of looms over you looking down. You can see behind that lens, you can see his eye has been cut out. His one eye. And you see those mechanical parts just sort of... And you see, as he's getting closer, like, he seems weak. Like, the arm can't fly. He can no longer fly. He's trapped in this chamber. That hole in the ceiling, that large window, likely how he got out of this chamber.
Huh.
And you see as he gets closer, he starts to puke up acid, it looks like, that drops to the ground and singes and smokes as he gets closer, as you can hear kind of the sounds of a guttural clicking. Like he can't start fire breath anymore. And there's just the fuel of it pouring out and burning as he just coughs this up and gets closer.
I take a couple steps back as he gets closer.
Let me get a good look at you, mortal. And judge.
And as he's getting closer, what do you do?
I change my mind and start
You
heading
look
back
and you see the
towards-
person is like there and they're going like this.
Yeah, yeah. I change my mind and slowly back it up as much as I can, trying to get back to the tunnel.
Are you all right? He starts coming closer to you as you start to back up.
Okay. Okay, then I just turn and run.
Okay. Give me a dexterity saving throw.
27.
Shit. Wow. You go running and you see that person runs out to you to come closer to you and pull you as best he can into the tunnel.
Uh-huh.
And as he's coming, you can hear Fierce Soul behind him, crying out. Sorry, I got distracted. Crying out,
Kanan, you fool, you scrap. You take these souls from their proper place.
as he lunges and tries to bite at you, but Kanan, this person, grabs you and drags you faster back as you hear the jaws clamp down and it echoes and screeches in your ears as these bronze fangs scrape together like swords. But you make it in as you can just see this acidic fumes get pouring out of Fierce Soul's mouth and fume and burn at the articulate stonework at the entrance to the tunnel. And he's just pulling you, running you down the tunnel. And you just feel like you're running for a long time as the clamoring of Fierce Soul vanishes in the distance. You have a moment, your heart racing. This was not the stories your father told you.
It was not.
Is that how he's always been?
No. I'll tell you more when we get to the rest. You see, as you're moving through these tunnels, he pulls you aside into a crack in the tunnels and pulls you through, and you're squeezing through. For a moment, you feel like the tunnel is going to crush you.
Yeah.
But then you get through, and then you get to the other side. You hear clamor of metal against anvil. Fire burns bright in this space as you see dozens of other people with this bronze skin. All manner of races. You see dragonborn, you see orc, you see human, you see everyone represented here, as they're all working in these forges, and some of them are tending to one another in this long, taller, wider space that leads almost like a spiral around to another area.
Do I see my father?
Give me a perception check.
24.
24?
Mhm.
Not at first. You are being led through as this man, Kanan, is talking to you guys. No, fear soul, the smith was not always this way. No, we have survived. He was once great. He was once fair, brilliant. We save what souls we can and bring them back here until we can figure out what to do and how to save him.
Someone told me that before I came here, somebody said my soul needed to be claimed.
The shepherd spoke. Yes, all souls are claimed. All souls find their rightful place in the afterlife and judged by those places.
Have I been judged already?
No, we will not let that happen until things are right again. As you start to pass through, you see other people who do not have bronze skin. This seems to be an acquired feature upon being here, upon being judged. Brings you through, and you're approaching kind of wraps around, and on the other side, sort of like a horseshoe that then leads into a wider opened area. But as you're passing through, you kind of, I imagine, are looking from face to face to face. We will get you situated, and you need to rest now, and we'll get you questions to you before we figure out what your life was. I would say, give me another perception check.
Natural 20. 26.
You stop dead in your tracks as you see the back of a man hammering at an anvil in a small workshop that looks familiar.
I immediately go towards it.
You say anything as you're walking towards it?
Papa?
See the person, their head lifts up from the forge. You see bronze skin, but the features of your father. Turns his head, he looks you in the eyes, and you see those familiar, painful, and sad eyes. As he looks to you, beard, you see some gray, but then brown, but then this bronze skin. The eyes look the same, despite the bronze skin. Still see wrinkles, despite the bronze skin, though. Rowan?
Yes. It's me.
What do you do?
I run towards him.
As you're running towards him, the sounds begin to fade dull. The hammers, your vision tunnels.
No.
And he's opening his arms to embrace you. You hear the sounds of Kanan's voice calling all is well fading. The darkness starts to close in around your sights. As you feel familiar presence. Wicked, hungry, cruel. Crimson Court does not forgive. The Crimson Court does not forget. As that darkness clusters around you and you turn to dust before you can embrace your father. And your vision goes dark again, and your feelings grow empty. All that joy and fear in this new place wash away from you as you feel like nothing. Back in the cart. The rockiness of the road continues.
Wiswick is frantically channeling his energy, like just trying to get himself prepared for
Wiswick,
battle
are
as quickly
you-
as possible.
You're in Oriel's cart, right?
Yeah, I'd say so.
All right. Are you in the back with Kieran as he's meditating?
Would I say? Yeah, I'd say I'd probably be in the back.
You're frantically flipping through your book, preparing your spells, performing the proper rituals for arcane recovery. As you would notice out of the corner of your eye, at first you don't see it, but then it compels you to see it because of how much its presence. Shadowy tendrils begin to envelop Scarlet's body. They have streaks of red in them, and they seem to be floating up from her body, from beneath it, and then descending down to completely encase her body in this shadowy mist.
Wiswick's going to quickly warn Oriel of what's happening, and frantically rips a piece of hair from her head for use of scrying later, just in case something's happening to her body, or if we
Okay.
need some source of her that's not corrupted. He wants to make sure of that. And is there anything I can do to maybe I'll like shine a light to try and get the shadow away or something like that?
Whatever you want to try to do.
I mean, I can't really do anything besides cursing her, so I think that it's probably better to.
Yeah, I'll say you definitely can get to her hair in time and grab a tuft of it. Do you wake Kieran up or do you let him trance?
I'm screaming. I'm at this point. I'm like, guys, what's going on? Like, holy shit!
Kieran, you would hear this and wake up as Oriel is also trying to stop the cart in this Russian state. Kieran, you do see this happening as well. At this point, most of this shadow has taken up Scarlet's body and is slowly, completely covering her in the bottom of the cart.
The magic that's being used here, does it look reminiscent of any kind of magic we've seen before?
Kieran, give me your choice of Arcana or Religion with advantage.
Religion. 18.
You feel your heart sink. You feel your bones ache. You feel every ounce of pain you felt for hundreds of years in this magic. This is reeking of the Shadowfell.
Elias? Could it be him? Is he back? No, we defeated him. It must be this magic. I don't know exactly what it is, but I sense the Shadowfell heal. Darkness.
And as you're both looking down at Scarlet's body, this shadow continues to grow over her. As you look, and from the feet up to the head, her body starts to become one with it as the shadow fades away from
Can
the
I
heart.
dispel magic before that happens?
You can try.
Yeah. So I'm gonna cast it at 5th level, because I'm assuming I didn't get the long rest.
No, you did not.
Okay.
Wiswick is holding on to her hand the whole time,
Mhm.
while this is the hand that has her magic item on it, and he's like holding on to it with the jewelry, and like as she fades away, he pulls away at her hand, and the magic item comes off, and he's just holding it in his hand as she is fading into the shadow.
Kieran, you attempt to get this spell off, and it seems to fade into that darkness. Ms. Wiswick, yes, you're holding her hand, looking to Kieran to stop this wickedness, but the hand fades to smoke and ash as the magic item remains. There's nothing left of Scarlet here but wisps of the shadow, her bracelet, and the tuft of hair Wiswick pulled out.
No. Scarlet. Where'd she go? What happened? I was going to bring her back. I can't bring her back if she's not here. Wiswick, what happened? What kind of magic was that?
Sean, if I were to, he mentioned Shadowfell before. If I were to just recall all of the enemies that I've encountered in the past who use similar magics to that, I know that we've fought some Maya's entities. I know we fought some like evil druids. I know we have a lot of enemies.
Yeah.
Right.
Which would I relate to those? We fought the assassins, if you remember.
Yeah. So
From the Crimson
give
Court.
me an Arcana check or an Insight check. You would all hear Oriel shouting to Timber to come, and shouting to the cart to stop. His retainers are driving that cart as he comes rushing back, and you see him just sort of open the door of the cart and looks in. And Timber, you would quickly, I imagine, come up behind him.
What's going on?
Where is she? What happened?
Her body, it just... Wiswick, would you say?
I got a 17.
I mean, absolutely Maya's, of course. The Crimson Court assassin that tried to come in and kill her last with Caleb.
What about Caleb himself?
Caleb himself would have reminded you of this. He would have used similar magics. Obviously, the undead constructs from Sumer Linden. Maybe the assassins from Magicset all the way back in the day.
Right.
But that's pretty far, and you're kind of like, maybe there's a connection there too, but you're unsure.
Look, guys, we have to think of this logically. If the Crimson Court or some other entity took her body away, then it must mean that it still has value. It means that there's no hope. It hasn't been lost. They need her for something.
It just vanished. It just like that.
It was taken by some kind of dark powers. Some smoke enveloped her, and yes, just like that, she was gone. But Wiswick, no, you're right. That makes sense. I was remembering her saying about the Crimson Court. There was a type of assassin that would literally give their souls to the court we were being trailed by one for some time.
Huron, you pause at that moment as you feel an overwhelming force. You feel another sink in your stomach and the two of you would notice him immediately pause. And all you would hear, Huron, for a brief moment,
Hot.
and that's where we're going to take a break.
Ooh. My god.
All right. We're going to take a short break, folks. We'll be back in 5 minutes to continue with tonight's episode. So stick around, and we'll see you soon. Welcome back, everybody, to Advantage in Paradise from that short break. So, last we left off, for those of you joining us, Scarlet's body just vanished in a plume of black and red mist as the party panics over this deeper loss further, and we ended with Huron hearing the beating of the heart in his bag of holding.
Yeah, so Huron is just fiercely ripping at his clothes to get this out of, it's always tucked within the elven chainmail that he has. So he rips it out and then, fiercely undoes the tie with his teeth and reaches in, feeling for the heart.
Okay, yeah, you can easily get it in there.
And pulls it out.
Okay. You pull the heart out, and the blackened husk of a heart, you see, like, the way it's beating is just sort of, like, gross and bulbous, the way it's just sort of... The longer you hold it, it starts to slow, and that beating starts to go away, but one thing you do notice is veins of green light swirling across it. But then, the longer you hold it, though, this all starts to fade away. Wiswick.
While that's happening, once I see the heart, I immediately rummage through my bag and pull out the tuning fork of necromancy that we found with the heart.
Yes.
And although it is partially damaged when I found it, it still was it was still managing to create that spectral form of Malik.
Yeah.
I'm going to attempt to use it on the heart.
In what way?
Just whatever I could think of, split second, just channeling my arcane energy through it and attempting to activate its primary thing on that heart.
Okay. As you do that, you feel an overwhelming urge to just kind of tap it against the heart.
Yeah.
Okay. Huron, you see Wiswick moving forward with this. You were there. You saw this tuning fork, as was part of that. This broken tuning fork was part of that ritual.
Huron almost offers the heart towards Wiswick.
As these two meet, the tuning fork hits the heart.
What are you doing?
And you all feel this dull thrumming, as if the tuning fork is playing its tune. But it is so low and thrumming you can't hear it, but you feel it. As everything goes quiet within a radius of the tuning fork. You might even look at each other and try to talk, and no sounds come out of your voice at all. As it's just... When you can see the tuning fork vibrating so much that it looks like 3. And Wiswick's arm looks like 3, as Wiswick, you feel this vibrating through your body. Is in between all of you. First, all of that green energy you saw in the heart, you see it all almost fill into the tuning fork. As the heart stops beating. And then you see it, Huron. Small crack in reality form. Quickly. What do you do?
He's gonna actually drop the heart at this point and start to reach for the crack.
Wiswick's gonna stop him and say, "Wait."
You hear nothing. Wiswick goes it's effectively a silent spell all around you.
Timber is crawling up into the cart and going to tackle Huron.
All right, I'm gonna make you guys do a contested grapple check.
Wiswick is trying to mime that he has one hand and Wiswick has two hands. While he's immediately getting tackled.
Scry, Nick, it wasn't that Alex was muted. He was miming the fact that they can't hear each other.
Yeah.
The crack is opening. The crack is like opening rapidly, Curon. And as you're reaching up for it, you get tackled. What are those contested rolls? Athletics or acrobatics?
I'd say Kieran's not even contesting it. He's not
Right.
even like, he is just enthralled by whatever's happening.
Absolutely. Timber, you're easily able to pull him aside then. Pull him away. And Kieran, your finger almost touches it. And you see, as soon as that happens, you see a construct like claw comes out. And that's the point that Timber kind of pulls your arm away. You see this claw just scratching violently as another one's trying to push its way out. It's still silent in this space.
Timber's gonna point to Wiswick and be like,
Yeah. I was thinking the same thing. Wiswick's going to take the fork that he used to create this crack, and he's going to stab at the creature with it.
I don't feel like that's what Timber wanted to do. Yeah, I was thinking
I like it. Go.
When the fork does touch the creature, it does kind of appear to have a weight on the creature, though. Like it does, like almost not like you don't dominate this creature with this, but it is dominating that creature in some way. As the creature kind of does recoil from it, but then it starts to try to claw out faster. I'll say just real quick, just for your sake, Wiswick, due to the timing of it, you did get your arcane recovery.
Sweet.
Timber would actually take it, like, after, like, keeping his back on Curon, Timber would take out his bow and just shoot at this creature, trying to get back into that reality.
Okay. Give me an attack roll with advantage.
Okay.
I
would expend a charge for this, too. Ooh, thank God, I had advantage. It's a 29.
That'll hit.
Go on.
Yes.
Counterspell does not require a verbal component.
With this, there's no spell being cast. You'd have to use Dispel Magic to seal this.
Well...
Wiswick, I will say you can identify that the silence is coming from the tuning fork.
Man, I really don't want to break this thing.
I'd say if you threw it, the silencing effect would follow it.
I stick the fork in my sock, which sends it all the way back to, the old man in Vermelcia.
You left your old sock there?
I gave it to him. I said,
You
I want to...
did.
Yeah.
So you guys could transfer things to each other, right?
Well, this is the perfect time to transport
All
something
right.
to him.
As soon as you put it in the sock, you all feel the weight leave you and the silence disappear. As now you hear the cracking noise is loud and you can hear the creature. What do you do?
I mean,
Oh yeah, you shot it with the arrow.
Yeah,
Yeah. How much
that's-
damage did you deal?
13 piercing damage and 12 necrotic damage.
Okay, as you shoot it, you see the arrow pierces the arm, and you see it immediately severs it, and it drops to the ground. As you can now see, kind of like the other arm is trying to squeeze out of the crack. It is getting bigger.
So I want to stipulate that I did not let go of the tuning fork. I have I'm sticking my fingers through the sock, and it's like...
Okay, I'll allow it. I'll allow that.
Right. And I don't know if it's my turn
Just
or if it's initiative
Just
or anything, but-
for chat's sake, Wiswick, a very long time ago, found a magic
thank
pair of socks that had a essentially kind of like a extra dimensional property to them. The idea in the DM's mind was these are a fun little quirky magic item that is a pair of socks where you put your hand into it. When they're far enough apart from each other, you can essentially go to the other sock and grab the sock and pull it through to essentially never lose your second sock. And now it's just become a bag of transference, essentially, which makes sense.
Transference.
Yeah, sock of transference. But anyway,
Very
yes.
tiny one though. It's only
It's very
ankle
tiny. You
size.
can't get a lot in there. Something like this is pretty much what you can get in there. All right. That arm has fallen off. Wiswig, this is not a initiative. You can just do something if you want.
Okay, I'm going to. Well, you see that Wiswig's eyes turn black, and he uses the spell Eye Bite to try and fear this thing from the oncoming, from trying to enter our realm.
Okay.
So let's do a wisdom saving throw, please. DC
Wisdom?
18. Yes.
Rolled a 3, so they fail.
Yeah. So it is officially frightened of me.
Okay, so you would see the creature that was then trying to pull its arm out, the other arm back in. You can actually see it starts to push its face through, and you can see very clearly now that this is one of the exact same creatures that you fought in at the Lay Sanctum in Terramron, one of the creatures of Carcery.
But it can't get any closer to me, and I'm standing right
Yeah,
next
no,
to
you
it.
see the creature withdraws its hand and pulls back, and now there is just a crack in reality in front of you.
Seeing that, I think Kieran's going to stumble forward, trying to slap his hand on it and dispel some of that magic.
Okay, what level?
Cast it at 4.
Okay.
That's my highest.
Give me a let me see. Sorry, I'm just looking up something real quick.
Sure. Take your time. I'm not going in.
Okay. Go ahead and roll me a wisdom check for it. The roll for dispel magic to dispel a spell that is too high level.
Yeah, that's 11.
Doesn't close.
Wiswick seems to not be concerned about closing the rift. He screams into it, "Scarlet! If you could hear me, we're coming for you!"
Wiswick, I don't think Scarlet's in there. That's the Wayward One's realm.
Why would you open this?
Worth a shot!
Why
Kieran's
did you do
gonna
this?
Just, if you'll allow it, another dispel magic.
Yeah.
Third level.
Absolutely. Go ahead and I'll allow it.
Yeah, if more creatures start coming, I can cast Eye Bite on multiple creatures, so I would just
Okay.
keep attempting to fear them away.
That's
That's
15.
15 doesn't do it.
All right, we're gonna try again. All right, it's 22. It's a 22.
That will
shot.
do it. That
Oh,
will do
thank-
it.
I had one shot left after that.
Yeah. It's you're essentially dispelling the gate spell,
Right.
which is a 9th level spell. So
Yeah,
that's a
that's what I
19
kind of
DC.
assumed.
Finally, you are able to seal up this fracture in reality. The heart has stopped beating. The tuning fork is starting to mellow the tune. But if you were to pull it out, you would notice that it is. There's a new vibrance almost to it. The exterior of it has this opalescent color to it. That kind of like green opalescence of like the thorax of a fly. It has that green shimmer to it.
Mhm.
The tuning fork has that coloration now.
Is it still injured? Like, has it changed in any way? Like,
It's still a little bit fractured.
okay. I would like to begin. Well, yeah, I pull it back out of the sock, and I stick my other hand through the sock and give them a thumbs up and an okay symbol, and then like pull it back.
Somewhere in this shop, Wiswick's hand just like bounced out of a box, like a drawer or something, or like probably like
silent?
some. No. This is exactly what happened. An intern. Suddenly, the room got real quiet for the intern, and a box started to shake, or a drawer started to shake in the desk that he was in. He was just too freaked out and ran out of there.
Like Jumanji.
Exactly.
Yeah. Why would you do this? That's the same creature that was at the lacing.
Look,
Yes.
you don't need to tell me the dangers, but we don't know what's going on here. I had to do it. It was the only thing I could think of that might have some sort of connection with what happened to Scarlet. It didn't turn out right, but if I had the same situation, I would do it again. Like, we need to find out what happened to her, and that was our only hope. Maybe now that this magic has affected the tuning fork in some way, if I identify it, we can learn more about what that other realm is or what happened to her.
Well, from what I can gather, that's Carcery, the Wayward One's realm at the edge of all the realms.
You think she
What'd you
was
say,
there?
Clayton?
Yeah, Wiswick knew that.
You think she went there?
No. I recall her saying that those that pledge themselves to the Crimson Court pledge their souls. I believe she is with them now.
The Crimson Court? Oh.
I'm not positive. I don't know why she would be taken to Carcery. Nias is dead. I know that. Like Wiswick said, the magic that we saw is similar to theirs. What she told to me.
Well, okay.
What was it she always said? In Crimson Court, never forgets.
Wiswick's gonna begin the identify ritual on the fork.
You see, Oriel is at the back of the cart. There's more. You will never stop surprising me. I did not know that she was involved with the Crimson Court.
What do you know of the Crimson Court?
I'm sure as much as the lot of you do. I grew up in Oxlin. They were always there. Although when I was there, they were a lot less zealous. Sure, they murdered. It was more of they were just criminals. Brigands. Ruffians. The stories I've heard of what they've become is more violent, threatening, evil.
Yes, Scarlet had said that their king was aiming to expand in some ways. But I don't know how exactly.
Kiran. This might be a rash question, but Scarlet's body in either Thatcher or the Crimson Court's hands, which is more dangerous for her sake?
Thatcher, for all his madness, we can understand him to a degree, I think. But the Crimson Court, we know nothing about them. As Oriel said, all we know is that they've gotten more powerful, and that they now hold the soul of our friend. Any entity that has control of your soul is a dangerous one. Mortal or immortal. This is much worse than if Thatcher had her body. Much, much worse.
I agree. I mean, we've been searching for them for what seems like ages. We've dealt with generals from other countries and some really smart people, traveled well, powerful, strong druids, and we've become strong ourselves, and yet we have yet to find any source of information about the Crimson Course. We've even met people from it, and we still don't know where their hideout is or who's really in charge.
We didn't do much investigation while we were in Oxland, and now we are not there.
Yes, the Crimson Court has never really been a priority for us. Scarlet always seemed to simply want to run from them. Though it
No.
seems like we should have turned and fought them off. Damn. It's all my fault.
You would recall, Huron, because you were right up close when it happened. You would recall the visceral domination of Caleb
Right.
in that last moment, and the voice echoing from Caleb. That wasn't his own.
Well, I think we should hurry to the Sea of Glass so that we can get gather information for next steps for acquiring her body. If that's even an option for you. Although she's dead right now. I know you said you can bring her back. Do you believe so?
Well, now there's no body.
We will get Scarlet back. Unfortunately, we have much more pressing matters at the moment. And we should not...
We'll have to get stronger.
Stronger?
Stronger, yeah.
Oh, I didn't hear the end of... Yes, well, we definitely should not stay here much longer. We should continue on to town. Find the shot of Ilivania. And from there, we will make our next move.
John, what time is it?
Right now, it's around, after kind of everything you've been dealing with, it's probably around 4:30 in the afternoon. Sun is setting, getting very dark and cold.
We need to keep
Wiswick,
moving.
yeah, with his eye bite still active, for I don't know how long, and I think it only lasts a few minutes, but I don't know how long it's been from us just chatting, but he's gonna take the helm, the you know, the lashes, whatever you call them, the little
Reins.
ropes. Thank you. The reins of the cart, and wants to keep an eye out looking for those driders that were threatening to attack the cart earlier. He wants to make sure we're all safe as we continue forward.
Okay. So I'll say you take the front cart. Some of Oriel's retainers will take the second cart, and the rest of you can assign yourselves as you wish. Oriel stays in the back where Scarlet's body was, and you can see he's kind of like kneeling down and just kind of running his hand on the boards or the floor, deep in thought.
Duran's hasn't left that cart either. He has his cloak drawn very tight around him, his staff laying away from his body.
Timber is taking care of both rigor mortis and Rocco.
Not that it matters. Their name is Querna.
Querna?
Querna.
I will say it does get a little unruly without Curon nearby it. But it is demonstrating like it no longer, the eyes still look like glassed over, paling eyes of a dead thing, but it is behaving like a horse as opposed to just a construct. To the point of like drinking water and eating.
It disturbs Timber, but he continues on anyway. He treats it normally. Tries to.
Huron, it reminds you of some of the servants within the halls of the dead. But you continue
He's
on.
curious about it, but he doesn't, pay it much mind considering all the things that have been going on. Sorry, the identify spell I casted on the fork.
Sorry, yes, I forgot you did that. Give me an Arcana check. 'Cause this is a little more than just a enchanted item. It's going to require a check.
Sean,
Well, you think a 29 will handle it?
I mean, that's why I felt pretty confident you'd get it because of your ridiculous Arcana for magic things. Your expertise for magic things.
Be good at that stuff. I am a lore wizard.
You don't get exactly what it is. You get a vision of it in use. And the baseline of information you learn is that it is a planar tuning fork. They are used to navigate cross-planar travel for creating I forgot the term for it. For creating those
Wormholes?
wormholes. Thank you. I was thinking of the those quantum kind of entanglements between planes that happened that you saw underneath a drift march, where it's part of your plane is over there, part of their plane is over here, that create that wormhole effect. They can also create straight up rifts like that when used in certain ways.
Well,
You
I
would get-
knew all this already. What changed?
What changed is it was re-energized with the magic of the plane. When you took it from the ritual, you severed it from its source of power, which was this heart. Maius was fueling himself with this with energy from that plane. Because of what the Wayward One became, his plane of existence was infused with the planes he took over. So Carcery is still infused with powers from the Shadowfell because of the Skaithfulam's deal with the Wayward One. Their loyalty to him and the fact that the Wayward One became their manifestation, they are connected to Carcery because of that. So Maius
Sean,
was, yeah.
If the heart had started pumping when Scarlet's body was teleported away, that means it must have gained its power back from witnessing that effect. I'm
Yes.
thinking of it as a sort of battery that retained that charge, and then the tuning fork was able to use that energy to create a rift.
Exactly. That is exactly what happened.
If that is the case, would there be the re-energized glow on the tuning fork means that it's residual energy from the initial effect that took Scarlet away?
Yes.
If that is the case, I want to use all of my knowledge in understanding the compound components of magic to slowly and carefully channel my own magic through it and get a down to the molecule understanding of this magic to the best of my ability, because it's like a small condensed area. This will just be like something that I research over time.
Yep.
In a controlled environment.
Okay. You can definitely do that. I will grant you one last vision of this tuning fork in use at a different time in reality.
Mhm.
You would see it being used the same way you used it, is you would see a similarly sized gnome to you in a workshop, an artificer's workshop. There are fireworks going on outside of his workshop as he's sitting in there alone working on a box. He drags that box out to the center of his little workshop and pulls and opens it up to get it running. You would see inside it a small vial or a small circular sphere of glass. Looks an awful lot like the Kieran glass that you all got. You see he dips a match into it and lights it, and you see the fire goes in and then circles down into a small little ball of plasma inside. And the thing immediately begins to start up. As a gnome, you're immediately fascinated by this mechanical contraption. It starts to heat up, and you can see he closes it up, and in the top you can see this searing hot liquid pouring into the center, into the mold of a tuning fork. And steam filling up the container. As it finishes up, you would see that mold cools to look like a finished and refined version of the tuning fork you have. No fractures. It opens up and the smoke and steam billows into the room as this young gnome crawls forward. He picks it up, and you can see it feels like a weight in his hand.
Imagine it's pretty hot.
And it's very hot, too. And you see him hit it against the box, and it rings out. As you can see a similar rift appear in front of him. But through that rift, you see a form come through. At first broken and pushing its way through, it looks like this horrible, broken spirit trying to push through, and then it breaks through the barrier. You see a tall, humanoid shape wearing a helmet covering their face, a cloak billowing back, black armor and clothes, all glittering with the same opalescence as the tuning. As you see them bow to the gnome. And then the vision fades.
Do I recognize the helm and armor in any way?
If Kieran told you what he saw in his legend lore about the Harbinger, this looks... I imagine you in your research you may have told him that.
I'm trying to remember when I legend lord.
It's when you saw the Harbinger created.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember when you did that legend lore. Where were we?
It was after you all... I remember you did it right after you got the reagents from the university in Carolina.
Right, okay, yeah, so then that definitely would have been shared. That 100%.
Yeah, because that would have been part of your research that you did together.
Right, okay.
This is the form the Wayward One took when he started his plan in the material plane. The form that Kieran told you turned that human into the Harbinger. This is an image of the Wayward One making a pact with one of his warlocks.
Okay, makes sense.
Question mark?
So yeah, I write down everything that I see in my notebook. I'm riding the cart at the same time.
I'll take the reins. I'll take the reins.
But,
Yeah, the same way, Wisbick, the same way when you identified the Oculus you have, and it showed you the owner and how they got it, and what they did. This is the same thing that you saw here. Was the owner and creator of this tuning fork.
Mm-hmm.
Because Identify has this ability to show you how something was created, and that's I like to give people that when they roll high enough on the check.
Okay, great. Wonderful. I'm looking forward to figuring out some shenanigans with this.
Oh, give me a quick insight check.
Ooh. I'm
Very
not
high
good at that.
DC, but if you... Well, high DC, not very high, but high DC.
So a 12 isn't going to cut it then?
Nah, it's not gonna cut it.
I thought that was a pretty good roll.
It's a perfectly average roll.
I have a +0 on it.
Okay. So you continue on. It's gonna take you. You're gonna have to rest for one more night before you get there. So you don't notice. You seem to be leaving the territory of the Driders because you're getting closer to Nephradala. You would occasionally notice some threatening-looking creatures, but they're not in big enough numbers to actually threaten you. You would see swimming around in the water this creature that has 2 arms that have hooks at the end. It has this carapace of kind of a burgundy color over it. It has no eyes. It has this mouth, insectoid mouth, but underneath the carapace is this fleshy body that looks like exposed flesh. And as it swims in the water, it trails blood in the water. And then but it's alone. And it kind of swims off and burrows down under a swamp cap.
Hydralisk.
Kind of actually does look like a hydralisk a little bit.
They're so cool. I love those things.
They are. They're beautiful. Huron.
But is there anything in particular you want to do at this point?
I would. Huron. You said that you would trust Scarlet's body in Thatcher's hands rather than the Crimson Court's.
Yes, I feel like with Thatcher, he's simply an obsessed madman. He would taunt her, he would torture her, but just that. The Crimson Court, I fear that our friend will no longer have control over her own body. Her soul has been forfeit. It'll be like when Caleb came to us, attacking his former friend, Scarlet, without being able to stop. Totally under the Crimson Cirrus's control.
Huron, wake me up in the middle of the night. I want to do something.
Of course. I don't think I shall be sleeping much tonight anyways.
Try it myself, but I don't know if I can either.
Soon after, you would find the similar, as safe as possible space as the night you had before. Do you want to set up those the torch perimeter again?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. You do so. You set up the carts in a way. You set up the horses in the same way to try to protect them.
Huron, during this time, is trying to have Rocco and Querna to, like, kind of be like, all right, Rocco, this is a new friend of ours.
Rocco is the whole time like,
Shh, 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 shh. There. It's gonna be okay. I don't know why, but I feel this one to be touched by the Crescent Heart. In a way. And then he'll start to stroke Querna.
yeah. You feel the liveliness within Querna. As the eyes, they've got that classic zombie look. They're grayed over. But Querna seems to... I'll put it this way. You're familiar enough with the essence of entities. Querna is not being powered by an animating spirit. Querna is being powered by the spirit of Querna.
But yeah, so he just does that.
Okay. Are y'all doing watch rotations?
We're sleeping until Huron wakes him up.
Yeah. Wiswick will take first watch then.
Okay. Kieran, are you going to stay up or are you going to do a trance?
Kieran will trance because I do need to recover those spell slots and that health. That little amount of health for level 11, but it's still all I have.
Okay. Wiswick, go ahead and give me the Oriel's going to take the second watch. Wiswick, go ahead and give me a perception check.
Okay. Oh, I was looking for dice, but I remembered. So we're doing jet.
Okay.
I got a 10.
Perhaps it's the exhaustion from the day and the overwhelming emotion of the day. You find yourself both distracted and very tired, and your eyes keep slipping in and out. You don't fall asleep, but you have trouble keeping a watchful eye on the perimeter.
Yeah, Wiswick's trying to keep busy because the watch is too monotonous. It lets his mind wander, so
Exactly.
he's trying to keep busy, and everything that he works on is just coming up. Like, he keeps making stupid mistakes, and he crumples up pieces of paper and throws them into the fire, and the fire's really big by the time it's anybody else's time to wake up.
You don't notice anything, but you also don't. Nothing comes to camp. Nothing attacks. There's no danger present. Oriel would wake up and find you frustratingly throwing another piece of paper in the fire as he sits across from it, kind of yawning and getting himself ready for his watch. You all right, Master Netherrock?
I don't want to talk about it. Classic Shannon line.
I understand. You need to get to your rest.
Yeah,
Heavy
he just
day.
turns off, shrugs off the kind words and tries to get some sleep.
Okay. I'll be doing a perception check for him. He rolled just as you did. He also got a 10.
Well, we're pretty moderate, subpar today
Yeah.
in the watch.
He similarly is too preoccupied during it when Kieran, you would come out of your trance knowing Oriel is out there on his watch. You would find him staring into the fire, not really watching.
Not much good watching the flames when something could be creeping up on us.
You're right. Hard to focus.
And I'll just say, Kieran does not have his staff with him.
I understood the dangers of traveling with you all beyond Quintarchy and Doris. And what threatens you all. I am resolute in seeing this through, but let's say my spine is a little straighter and I'm standing taller, looking further.
That is good. The ambush, I feel, has no connection to what's going on, whether it's with the Pallid King, the Wayward One, the Harbinger. A simple danger on the road, and yet it took Scarlet from us. A simple inconvenience took one of her chosen. And we could do nothing.
Time for grief, woe, sorrow, and a sad day. But tomorrow will come. Regardless of what miracles our goddesses provide us, or don't. There's
Yes.
a road ahead.
I suppose you're right. The gods do not pull the sun across the sky. Mere children's tales.
You see he's nodding and his eyes return to the fire before he stands up. Go to bed.
Huron will stand for some time just looking out into the mists of the swamp. Probably about an hour before. No, he'll do 2 hours, and then this way Timber can be on the final watch with him.
Okay.
Before rousing Timber. So it's not the middle of the night. It's a little. Actually, no. He would have roused him once Oriole. Sorry, middle of the night. Once Oriole goes to bed, he rouses Timber. Kaze.
Yeah.
Wolf boy. Kaze. Kaze.
Kiron. Oh, thank you for waking me.
Of course.
I need you.
What is it that? Oh,
I got a tattoo. I wish to try.
right.
Keep watch over me. I don't know how this works,
Okay.
but I'm going to try something. Timber is going to cast Dream.
Oh yeah.
And he's going to cast it on Thatcher.
Dream.
Okay. Oh, I've only ever done this to players. I just went to look up Dream. You know how you normally look up a spell, you write Dream 5e?
Yeah.
I wrote Thatcher 5e.
Did it give you a stat block?
It didn't. All right, so
I will describe the dream to you.
yeah, there's no saving throw, right? Except for when they wake up, right?
Except for if I decide to, like, give him, I guess,
yeah.
sort of like a nightmare so that he doesn't get the full rest.
Yes. Okay. So go ahead and describe the dream for me.
So first, he's going to be alone in a dark abyss. And he's going to see, he's going to hear the voice of just someone from the Crimson Court. We have your sister. And sort of like do like a transparent version of her body that's dead on the ground in front of her. You wish to have her. Trade your mask for it. Rowan. Not Rowan. Reese. Damn it.
You would see, because I imagine you just have him standing there in the middle as he is
Yeah.
in the darkness. He would be staring at her body. You would see the exact Maurice you've known to see Thatcher. The hole in the side of his cheek, the scar here, the gray skin, the bright orange eyes like Scarlet's, the swept back hair. And you see he's just staring at her body as you say all of this, bewildered, not confused. But then when you say when you say his name and then the mask, he straightens out and looks into the darkness. Steps forward into the nothingness, as if to get closer to your voice, even though he can't see anything.
Mm-hmm.
Fucked up.
Who are you? Who is behind the dark?
Like to know.
You know of the mask?
General Wood.
What does the Crimson Court want with such a pile of flesh? She looks dead to me. I have no use for flesh.
Oh, but you do. You have a connection to it. And you have something in mind.
Connection. Which one are you?
I know you in Cardolan.
Oh, it can't be the cur. Maybe the gnome. Definitely not human. The elf? No. He's too straightforward. He's messaged me before.
You don't know me. I have high power and a lot of money. I know things I can pay people. I know how those five are connected to the world. It doesn't say it like that. It's the world.
Yeah.
The world.
He smiles smugly to himself.
A man about town. Connected. What do you want?
Told you. The mask.
Where? When?
Cardolan.
Cardolan? That's awfully far from Endurance.
I don't think he knows where. He shouldn't be able to know where it's coming from. Sorry.
He's not judging it off of that.
Oh, okay. I have my means of travel.
So it is you. It is one of them.
You can play your game, Stature. But do you want Scarlet or not?
Well, not if she looks like this.
You can bring
He
her
points
back.
to the body.
Can you not?
He does actually look confused at that one.
What's happened to her?
Bring the mask. And Timber just closes everything. And just a loud screech to his in his mind.
Do you want to deal with 3d6 psychic
Yeah, I
damage
do.
to him? I'll make a whiz saving throw. You rolled a 16.
I believe the DC is 17.
Okay, all right. Somewhere in the world, Thatcher just woke to the piercing psychic damage of the collapse of that dream onto his mind. And you come out of that trance. Huron, all you saw was Timber, kind of like his arm out, as you saw the tattoo on his arm, which, Timber, if you'd like to describe what it looks like based on the spell you chose.
It looks like just a circle on his forearm. It's like a purplish. It has a purplish hue on it, and the hue disappears when he uses the spell. But it's like a circle with like triangles on, I guess each every 120 degrees. So like just like a triangle of like, and it's like little these mini triangles off of this circle, and there's like an inner circle in it too. And there's like some writing, like some glyphs along the inside of the two circles.
And then you would see the light come back to the tattoo, the standard light of the magic in it, As Timber would. The light would be there for a moment before it would fade. And you would notice Timber's other tattoos light dulls.
I gave this could be useful. It was worth a shot.
What was that?
It's something I picked up from the tattoo shop.
Right,
I can't
remember.
normally do spells, but this one is for interrupting people's dreams. I gave
Their dreams.
I gave Thatcher a nightmare.
Thatcher. What'd you tell him? What'd you do?
I want him to contest the Crimson Court for Scarlet's body.
Kaze, that's brilliant. Yes, of course.
Just pin our enemies together. We can't fight them both head on.
Right. And you done, Clay? Yes. And it is true, though. The Crimson Court has Scarlet, and that's what he's been after this whole time. He can do half the work for us.
Correct. That's what I'm hoping for. I don't know how convincing I was, but I made it sound like the Crimson Court wanted his mask. That's what they were after from him. So they off, as if to trade. I tried to play as General Kinsley. I don't know if it came off that well. I don't know anybody from the Crimson Court.
Right. Well, regardless, any distraction to him is good. I had thought about messaging him myself, simply to alert her next of kin. But this is probably better. Yes. Good job, Kaze. Let's just hope it works.
Yeah, let's hope it works.
And then, if there's nothing else that Kaze says, Kieran will just kind of sit in silence, watching the mists as the sun rises.
Okay. And I imagine, Kaze, you get the last bit of your rest to get your
Correct.
long rest.
Yeah.
Okay. The dark star rises on the horizon, and you can set off for the last leg of this journey. You will arrive in Nephradala roughly around 1 p.m. The last leg of this journey, the swamps still have critters in them, but there's just a general more like they feel more alive in the sense of like the small things flourish the closer you get to Nephradala. Birds, you actually even see a few mammals rushing around and not being eaten during their hibernation by large beetles. You would see in the distance the road begins to clear up, and you would see stone pillars marking the entrance to a town with a short stone wall that goes around. You can see kind of like the canopy leads you there, and then the canopy opens up to the open sky. Beyond those pillars, you would see between all the pillars, there are like ropes tied between them all at angles. And you can see dozens and dozens of flags hanging from them of all sorts of nationalities, all sorts of colors, all sorts of shapes and sizes blowing in the breeze. Because there's actually a breeze there, because the trees don't choke the breeze out. And you can approach. You see no guards.
Okay.
Where are the guards?
Who knows, but I suspect there must be some kind of protection on this place to sit so quaintly in such a dangerous area.
My thoughts exactly.
Let's go, Rocco.
Hey, Matt,
You're on.
I thought we might be able to get a reward for all that trouble we went through in that swamp. I didn't even think of taking evidence that we killed all those guys.
Wizard, do you want a cookie for every step you take?
Yeah, I do. I take a lot of really hard steps.
Well, can I retcon that Kieran definitely would have taken some idol of Hairfrost?
Yeah, I'd allow that. If you want
Okay.
to take one of the bone masks or something.
Yeah. Not the half works because his face was crushed.
Yes.
But yeah.
Yeah, I'll say that you could have done that. When you enter into town, as you go on, like these pillars are clearly part of an older town that this is built on. They look at least centuries old. The stonework of these pillars is so weathered and covered in moss and ivy that they look green. They look like they're just green. But the flags, some look tattered and old, but those are all. Some of them look fresh, like they were put up yesterday. You start to see people, and you start to see homes. The homes are mostly, in this region at least, built into these old ruins. So like there's a intact stone kind of hovel that someone's like, I'm gonna put a door on this, put a roof on it, put a second story on it, put some stilts on that, and they are making makeshift homes out of it. You also notice that as soon as you get to the part where people are, there is a permanent 4 to 6 inches of water at your feet, everywhere. This area is sinking into the lagoon beyond it. And the buildings look like they've been built out further and further from the center of the town as it sinks more and as the water levels rise. You start to... Go ahead.
The architect, the stonework, the ruins, does it look elven in nature?
No.
Or okay.
No. It does not look like a stonework that you're familiar with.
Okay.
A lot of it is these it definitely looks, I'd say the closest thing you can connect it to is that there's probably some I almost said Kieran. Some Gwyn influence. Like some of the pillar work looks like it might be related to some of the old stonework you saw in Vermalcia or in the ruins in the Chromatis Hinterlands. But there's a flourish architecturally here that's different culturally. What you would notice every now and then is really weathered draconic iconography. So like on the tips of pillars or just straight up statues of dragons. The ruins are likely dragonborn ruins. You would start to see real true activity, not just houses with people kind of maybe looking out and going back in. You would start to see shop stalls with people selling all sorts of wares. You see fishmongers, you see bakers. It starts to feel like a real town to you, except there is just an explosion of diversity. You see hobgoblins, you see dragonborn, you see tabaxi, you see lizard folk, you even see some firbolgs. You also see these squat little guys running around in tight leather armor and clothes, fat tails dragging behind them, big flat heads with feathery pink fronds coming off of the back of it, big amphibian eyes, as you would see some Axelborn rushing around. You see a kind of coming towards you from the town center is a dragonborn fellow with like a pretty big dog next to him, probably like some kind of big shepherd, and he is we'll say a mastiff, and he is herding not sheep but these squat lizards that have these big plumes of feathers on them, like little puffballs. with tiny tails, nub tails sticking out, and their legs are kind of like the legs of like Triceratops and Bigfoots, where they're just kind of like logs that come down, like elephants. But then these kind of flatter faces. This is a lizard that has been thoroughly domesticated over the years to produce as many feathers as it possibly can for trade purposes. So they just have these big puff balls of feathers that are like all sorts of colors. And he is so angry at them. You see he has this long, what looks like his version of a shepherd's crook, and he's just like hitting them with it as opposed to like trying to pull them in directions. And just and he passes by you, kind of just looking up at you. Everyone's kind of looking at you because one, they're trying to figure out if Curon's a drow, probably, or an Elysian. Most of them have probably never heard of or seen an Elysian. You don't see a lot of. You see a lot of beast folk here, and you are very clearly travelers with extravagant wagons, and you are getting a lot of attention as you're going through town.
So I imagine we would head towards the most tavernist looking of the buildings.
Sure. You get into the town square, which you can now see there are 4 roads that lead out of the town square. The one you came from, one that heads, because you came from the east, so you see one that heads south, one that heads west, and then like the town expands out north, and you can see like the water gets deeper as it goes north, and you can see more houses on stilts, more all the way up to, if you look down the street, you would eventually see it turns into floating wharfs, and there's a lake-like town at the end. Still built on top of these stone structures that kind of dip their heads out of the water down there. You would notice that in the middle of the town, you see there's a crowd gathered around something, and you can see there are these tall tapestries that have been put up around a spot, and you can see your first sign of any guards whatsoever there. As you can see a pretty buff tabaxi, more like a tiger than a panther, more like a rakshasa. That was called? Yeah, except without the backwards hands. And you would see, a dragonborn there, and you would see a minotaur, and these 3 guards are standing around the spot, keeping people from disturbing the tapestries.
They're working on the tapestries?
No, it's just concealing something.
Oh.
As these guards are standing behind it. You would see all manner of shops are in this area. You see one that's Munster's Lumber and Sculpture. You would spot the Laughing Serpent, which is clearly a tavern that you could head towards. It has a wooden carved serpent's head on the outside of it that really just looks like it's hissing at you, but it's meant to be laughing, as the sign hangs from that.
Timber's gonna turn to Governor.
You're always gonna make that mistake.
I'm gonna always do it. We might head to the tavern, and if you need help getting any supplies for our next leg of the journey, just let us know.
Of course, Timber, I will meet you at the tavern. You're going to that one right there, the Laughing Serpent, but I'm going to try to find out if there's a representative from the Empire here. See if we can get some extra supplies from them.
That would be most gracious.
From what I've known, Nephradala is a friendly place, as long as you don't mess around. Everyone here has a weapon, I hear. That's why there's no guards.
Oriel, you mentioned our need for a guide. Do you know if this is the right place to look for one, or?
We spend another couple of minutes here, and I guarantee you they will be coming to us, just seeing these wagons. Remember what I said to you, be careful who you choose.
Maybe it's a smart idea for me to stick near the wagons, Just until we feel comfortable.
It
Well, I
may be
want to
smart.
drink.
There are some. While this is generally speaking a respectful town, trading hub, it has been a hard times from what we've heard in the Empire, and if these cultists that attacked us have been rampaging around their swamps, I'm sure they've suffered a little from that.
At that, Wiswick summons his golem and has it stand in between the two wagons as we pull up to the inn, with its arms crossed and looking real tough, and Wiswick just sits on the top.
Yeah, you would see a few children kind of run up immediately and kind of like ooh and ah at it. You see it's like a little kobold, little tiny kobold, probably like the size of a small dog, and like this little backseat kitten, a very tiny Axel pup, who just sort of like comes waddling up to it and just sort of, what's this?
Wiswick is trying to teach trying to explain in Snurfneblin, on the top of the golem, how to intimidate this whole time, because he wants to keep the people, the what do you call it, the shysters away. As-
You see at a certain point the golem just kind of like goes like this. Just holds its arms out threateningly, like makes fists, and just punches the air. And you see the children all kind of run away and then approach slower, just like a foot further away than they were before. As the golem kind of just sort of turns its head towards you. Good.
Better. They didn't run away all the way. You know, you turn around, pretend you're not paying attention, maybe catch them by the element of surprise.
Then you see it just turns its head completely around to keep an eye on them. And you see they all just go, ooh, at that. And get a little closer. And then back up a little bit. And get a little closer. And then back up.
Wiswick, having enough of this, says like, "Let me help you out," and uses the minor shape-shifting feature to turn his head more like the shape of a big scary dragon.
You watch
Like
as
an angry
the,
dragon face.
you watch as like the like stone face just sort of like, which has that like weirdly like friendly face that it normally has, that I always find weirdly friendly, just despite the fact that it is a stone golem, and just sort of and you hear that a few of them do scream and run away, and this time they scatter. There's just like one little like kobold just being, oh, and is just stunned.
Like, pats him on the head. He's like, "See, we did it. Good job. Well, you're learning."
The head shifts back to the normal version, and you see like the blinking of the lights in the eyes, and just sort of the like golemy like rock purring that it makes when it's the rocks chuff against each other. You two, are you going into the tavern?
Oh yeah, while this whole thing is happening,
I imagine it was during this. Yeah.
So Kieran's actually observing what's going on with the tapestry. I imagine he just halted Rocco in the middle of the square with Querna in tow, and is just staring and trying to figure out what's happening over there.
Okay. You're just watching. You're not going closer.
No.
Give me a perception check.
You want me to give a perception check?
Kieran.
Timber, before you go inside, you would see someone walking up to you from behind the tavern. They look like probably the stable hand. You would immediately notice they're a shifter. You would notice that they have this kind of like blonde hair all over their bodies, and they have these two, they're in their humanoid form, but they have these two kind of accentuated canines. Not in the way yours are when you're in humanoid form, more like that of a saber-toothed tiger. They're a long-tooth shifter. He's a woman. And she comes kind of up to you as she's wiping her hands, probably wiping horse shit off her hands and putting this dirty rag away. She's just, "Hi, welcome to Nephradala. You've got quite a few steeds there. Do you need a place to hide them? Keep them?"
Hide them? Hide them? Yes, that gentleman over there, will slowly bring the horses over.
Certainly. How many do you have?
I believe we have four. I believe we have,
Yes. Yeah, you have 4. 4 horses. All right, then. Well, just check in inside with Sonny, and they will settle your bill for you if you wish to stay as well, or get any drink, or some of her famous meat pies.
Might get some meat pies. Do they have sweet rolls as well? Are you a Jarl? Sorry.
Oh, you're awake. Oh, I was waiting for it. I was expecting it much sooner.
I was gonna let him just keep going and make fun of him after the episode, but this works too.
You bastards. You bastards.
It's good. It's really good. So.
I was planning these characters today, and I was like, oh, we're gonna have some Skyrim accents in here, and they're gonna be such dicks about it.
I thank you for your assistance.
Well, yes, if you want any sweet rolls, there are several bakeries in town. In here?
Which one is your favorite?
My favorite is a little bit unconventional, but I prefer to go into the stilts and then go closer to the drowned district and go to the mud cakes. Not everyone likes some of the bitter tastes, but these Axelborn know how to make some interesting cuisine. But if you want a drink, please come to our establishment. Don't go to the mud house.
I appreciate your knowledge.
Certainly. I'll take care of your steeds. What's your name, traveler?
Timber. Yours?
Roslyn.
Nice to meet you, Rosalind. Timber's gonna flip her a gold coin.
She'll catch it and then kind of look very impressed at it. We'll take mighty fine care of your steeds then.
But appreciate.
And she'll kind of head towards where like Oriel's retainers are getting the horses undone and everything, and goes to talk with them to get everything settled in the stables behind the Laughing Serpent.
Vegeta swears a few of coin. 29. I got a 29 in my perception.
Thank you.
I can also read lips. So forget about that sometimes.
You do not. You say that every time you roll a perception check looking at a person. But anyway, I would say you read a few folks' lips. You can, through the tapestries, with a 29, you get a very quick glimpse as the crowd is moving between the tapestries to what's in there. You'd see two individuals in there, a Dragonborn and a Tabaxi, dressed quite well, reminiscent of those hanging in the swamps. And they look very concerned, and they're talking between each other. The only quick thing you get a glimpse of is one of them saying, "We will have to alert his mother." And then you would maybe, with a 29, you catch a few folks in the crowd saying, "Oh, well, I heard it was another murder by the Pale Covenant."
I'm biting my tongue.
I fought the mud crab the other day.
You get fucking used to it. You're in Skyrim now. And all the hobgoblins talk like that. And the shifters, too. Particularly the hobgoblins and shifters tend to have that accent. You asked me
Excuse
what
me.
my goblinoids talked like a few sessions ago.
That's true. At hearing the Pale Covenant mentioned, Kiran will slowly walk Roko over and call down to whomever had said that and goes, "The Pale Covenant have a presence around town."
You asked that inquisitively?
Yes. Yes. Sorry.
You see kind of like some of the crowd parts at your approach, and they kind of look up to you and say, "You're not from here, are you?" Hold it in. Just wait till you hear the Axelborn talk.
No, I come from the far norths of Elysia, but the followers of Hairfrost have no love in my heart. We fought some of them on our way here, and he's going to take out the token that he took and just tosses it onto the ground in front of them. If you can point me to where there's more of them, I think we'll happily take care of them for you.
You see they all get like, when you throw that down to the ground, they do kind of back up and you do hear a chorus of whispers. You see some folks kind of gathering around Querna now and kind of looking at it, and you see like a tabaxi be like, "What is this? What's this creature?"
Looking, not fully looking at him, but, just kind of like turning over his shoulder a bit, he goes, "It's a horse. Or do your eyes not work?
There's something wrong with it.
It died, and then it came back to life."
Did you do this?
No, actually.
You hear some whispers of people like, they're like being like they think you're Pale Covenant as you see this undead horse here.
Kiran responds, "No, the cultists of Hairfrost did this. I have simply inherited this poor creature to save it from whatever existence it would eke out within the swamps."
You see, the people are afraid of you as you're talking, and you see a lot of them backing away. Only the kind of like the bravest, more abrasive of them looks up at you. Some of them sneering at you. Some rushing away out of fear. As you see one of the guards kind of just making eye contact with you and just watching you as this happens.
Wiswick's watching too, and he's talking to his golem. He's like, "See, look at what a good job we're doing. They're so scared."
At seeing the guards look at him, Kiran simply cocks an eyebrow, and then, kind of turning back to the tabaxi, goes, "Is there a problem? You people are scared."
You see the tabaxi kind of they all kind of eye you as they're kind of all making their ways away. The tabaxi looks at you. Go ahead.
You all run scared, but I'm simply an old man with one arm. How could I possibly scare you?
You see the tabaxi kind of like is a little embarrassed as he's staring back at you and says, "You walk into our town with threats like that."
I threaten no one.
"Watch your back, old man." You see he starts to walk away as you see a hobgoblin kind of stares at you behind him. You see this little goblin at his side too, and those three seem to walk away together.
Kiran will dismount to pick up the Pale Covenant figure. And as he's like kind of getting back up, dusting, hard to dust dirt off something with one arm, he goes, "So can no one tell me of your woes with the Pale Covenant? We encountered some of them less than a day's march east and dispatched them. But if there's more, tell us. They are no friends of mine."
You would see that one guard, it's the tiger tabaxi that was looking at you. He doesn't say anything, but he turns and he goes inside the tapestry. As you see someone walk up to you. It's a dragonborn woman. Kind of walks up carefully and says, "I'm sorry. Sorry for the people. They are afraid. The Pale Covenant has been threatening Nephradala for some time now, cutting off trade from the east. Which leaves us unconnected to the Empire. And we see little trade come in without those roads to the east."
It's just the Pale Covenant? What about those Driders that stalk the swamps?
We used to take care of them, keep them at bay. We're all well armed when we come through. And those roads were safe for many years. When the Pale Covenant came in, we stopped. We couldn't cull the Driders.
So they're a recent incursion then, the Covenant.
Yes, mercenaries have come up from the south to deal with them, but they can't. They're just not strong enough. And there's one kobold hunter in town, but they're drunk.
Kobold Hunter. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, Wiswick wants to chime in at this, and what's it called?
Wizard, you're a little far away from here. You'd have to walk up over.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I definitely like slide down the what's it called?
Golem.
The golem's arm, like eavesdropping slightly, and start heading over.
Would you say, Kieran?
A hunter, you say? They know where to find the Pale Covenant?
They used to deal with the Driders and larger beasts and monsters for us. They may not know about the Pale Covenant, but they are strong usually. But there's only one in town. Like I said, she's a drunk.
Drunks are people too, and through the light of Ilyuvania, anything's possible. Well, and then as he says this, he kind of looks really, really dejectedly at the ground and then stops talking. Just goes,
Oh. You see the Dragonborn. Well, if you're looking for the kobold hunter, depending on the time of day, you'll either find her in the Laughing Serpent, or if it's real late at night and she's gotten into a few fights, the Mud House. Heard she came back today from a job.
Karen looks up at the sun and goes, so the Laughing Serpent, Laughing Serpent, yes? Okay, so the Laughing Serpent it is then. Thank you for your kindness, stranger. Blessings of the Crescent Heart upon you.
I nod their head. Very Griffin watch over you. And they wander away. While this is happening, I'd say Wiswick comes up to you at that point, but inside the tavern, Timber, you get in there and you notice, like, as you walk in, several people, like, thinking they're stealthy, just like move away from the windows. Like they were watching your guys' carts come in because you have such lavish carts. And they just sort of like sit down like as you notice, this is a pretty the interior kind of has like this clay structure look, as it is the inside of one of these stone structures. The vestibule has water in it, like a good like couple inches of water, but as you get into the proper bar, it's dry stone. There's a large hearth on either side where there's some booths or stone carved booths through it. It's kind of like the structure is kind of like the cantina in A New Hope, in the way like the stone interior. You would notice that there is a bar in the back of the room. You do see a very large turtle sitting there, with a kind of her neck extended out with several gold rings on her neck and a tapestry over her shell that's covering other tapestries or that are multiple colors, but the one over her shell is particularly designs of white, orange, and blue, as she is serving folks there. And you would notice, if you look around, there are several people in the chairs and tables. There's a couple folks up at the bar. You would notice a woman in the back corner with her head completely in her arms, a half-eaten meat pie in front of her. As you walk in, you notice a goblin beelining it towards you. As he just kind of comes up and looks up at you and just sort of holds his hand out to shake your hand.
Hello. What is your name? Or who are you? Are you
Roach.
Hi, Roach.
My name is Roach.
Do you work here? Can
You look
serve
like
me?
adventurers, travelers.
Do you serve ale?
I do not work here. But you look like travelers. Travelers who might need some guidance through these lands. You don't look like you're from here.
We might. Are you a guide?
I am the best guide in Nephradala.
Yes, okay.
Where are you trying to go? South to the sea? Southwest to the Ghost Remnant?
The sea. The Sea of Glass.
Sea. The Sea of Glass. Roach can get you through the Sea of Glass.
Roach?
A Roach could... I am Roach.
A roach.
No, Roach. Roach.
Roach?
Do you speak common? I am Roach.
You are
My
Roach.
name is Roach. And Roach will get you through the Sea of Glass.
Roach, I would like a beer.
Very
or
good deal
ale.
from Roach as well.
Okay.
Perhaps over an ale we can talk about arrangements to the Sea of Glass.
There's an elf in the middle of the town square. Why don't you go talk to him?
No, come. I will buy you a beverage, and I will tell you all about how I can get you into the Sea of Glass.
Fine.
as he brings you up, and he kind of hops onto a stool and says, Sonny, that will be 2 ales for me and this traveler.
3. 2 for me.
3 ales, 2 for my traveler. 1 for me, Roach. Are you trying to just get through the Sea of Glass, or are you trying to get somewhere in the Sea of Glass?
Right now, I'm just trying to get through my day.
I know that, sir. But if you would only hear me out, I will tell you about how I can handle getting you through the Sea of Glass, for a discounted price for new travelers through Nephradala and Farathris. You would
Roach,
notice... Yeah, go ahead, Shannon.
Roach, leave him alone.
As you would look over and see the head of the woman with her clothes up, kind of grasping at her face. Shannon, would you like to describe your character?
I would love to. You see this very tall drow elf. Her ears are very, very, very long. Currently drooped a little bit right now because she's very hungover. And so she's got short, messy, white hair, white silvery hair with a little fountain on top. And dusky purple skin, and she just looks extremely hungover. And you can't see the bottom half of her right now, but like what you can see up top, there's like various like bone charms and teeth and various decorations on her. And leaned up against the wall next to her is this very fierce-looking spear, and it has like a stone serrated thing that looks like a fang. Yeah, that's what she can see.
Yeah. She's wearing kind of monk attire like you. As you see, I imagine you were just kind of like woke up and your like fork is like kind of pushing around the meat pie.
Excuse me, Sean. I'm wearing common clothes.
Oh, sorry.
Because my monk
You're
clothes
wearing
get
common
ripped all the
clothes.
time.
That's true. Forgot about that, Timber. Very sorry.
No, it's fine. But I know she's wearing my clothes.
Yes, yes, yes.
Do not listen to him. He has
Oh,
no
oh,
idea.
oh.
You have no idea what you're talking about.
Traveler, who are you going to trust? Drunken woman in the bar or your new friend, Roach?
Well, you just did buy me some ale.
I promise you, do not listen to him. He has no
Katya, why don't you go and fuck off?
Why don't
Go
you
get drunk and go puke in the mud house like you do every night.
Okay. Why don't you go and do the exact same thing?
I don't go to the mud house.
No, but you lead people to their deaths.
That is absolute defamation.
Is it?
I've done nothing but be honest with this new traveler.
She's really encroaching on this guy's business.
Timber is just have his hand on his face, like.
Why don't you and your friend Lollop just go back to the mud house and get drunk off of mud wine?
And I look around to make sure that Lollop isn't around. Is he
He's
around?
not right now. He's not right now.
Oh, right now. Okay. I will stand up. And when she stands up, she's very tall. Like, she's taller than Kieran?
Kieran, how tall are you?
6'8", but a little shrunken due to age.
She's the exact same height as Kieran
Yes.
at his
So
tallest.
she would
She's
definitely
6'8".
stand taller than him by an inch or two.
Imagine you have to like grab your spear to steady yourself.
Yep, 100%. And I use it kind of like leaning on it for support, and I walk over to the bar and stand right behind Timber.
You would notice Timber, as she gets closer, Roach just kind of like backs up and he's got his fists out. And he's just sort of,
You're
this
not-
is too early in the day for a bar scrap.
You are not worth my time. Leave him alone.
I saw what you did to Fez's friends last night.
They had it coming.
Whatever, if you want to go into the fields of glass with this drunk and get dead, it's your wish, it's your fate. But if you change your mind, come find Roach.
I'm not drunk
Come
right
find
now.
Roach in the old quarters.
Don't go
And-
find Roach in the old quarters.
He's a fucking cobalt wanderer. I think she's all that because of us. As Roach wanders out, and there are 3 beers presented, even though he left.
I take one immediately.
Oh.
And down it. I'm very sorry about him. He likes to make quick coin. I promise you, he has no idea what he's talking about.
If anything, he just gave quick coin by supplying these ales.
Well, and Katya reaches for the second one, already reaching for the second one.
Oh.
And not even like
Yeah.
paying attention to like she doesn't care that she's being rude and taking it in front of you. So you're looking to go into the fields of glass.
That is correct. And who are you? You're Katya?
Oh,
Is that...
Yes, Katya. Katya, that is my name, yes. I am Cobalt Hunter. Although that title doesn't really get you a lot around here anymore. No respect.
And what are your quote-unquote credentials? How many times have you been to the Sea of Glass?
Timber,
Yes.
give me either an insight check or a history check for the term Cobalt Hunter.
Insight it is. Boop, ba-doop, boop. Boop.
Do you have a resume?
Do you have a resume? No! That's a 10.
No.
It was
Oh.
on a nice 15.
What did you get?
I got a 10.
Oh, almost.
Do I get advantage?
You know what? I'll give you advantage because you come from a monastery.
I come from a land down under. Oh, it's a 14.
Where men scream and plunder.
Damn it.
DC was 15.
Yeah, no!
Bastard. You bastard!
Here's your sweet roll. So-
All right, well, Timber, you weren't paying attention that day in school at the Sulk on some of the other monasteries around Gwenvalier.
I got a B minus.
I get a C plus.
Yeah.
Outside, Curon and Wiswick, you are together, and I imagine at this point heading towards the tavern.
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Guardian Golem is still outside.
Cool. You guys get to the tavern, and you would see a very angry goblin kind of kick the doors open and wander out, and just be like, "That fucking kobold hunter, drunk bitch," and just keep walking into the space.
Oh, so the kobold is in there.
Did you say kobold?
Yep, because that's what I heard the first time, and now Kieran is 100% looking for a kobold hunter.
Oh my god.
I love it. I love
Oh
it.
my god.
He says,
Has Wiswick heard of the term before?
"Definitely not. It's too far south for you to have heard of this."
Okay.
Sorry, I got distracted. And then you see the goblin
kobold?
turns to you and be like, "Kobold hunter, what are you talking about?"
Yes, a kind woman out there told us that if we were looking for the Pale Covenant, a kobold hunter that was drunk could help us. Are you familiar?
I don't know about kobold, but she's certainly a drunk. If you want to find her, she's in there. But if you're trying to find something and you want a good guide, Roach
Get
is your
out!
man. No, he's already outside.
No.
If your kobold hunter is not good enough, find Roach. He'll help you find the Pale Covenant.
Roach, that's the name of an insect.
Roach is my name.
Yes, and where I come from, well, actually, in all of common, a roach is a type of insect.
Roaches are hardy creatures, survive.
Sure, and some would consider them a pest.
I changed my mind. Don't come to Roach for help.
Mm.
Wanders off.
Your Honor.
Wiswick just heads in without Kieran to see what's going on.
Kieran
y-
hobbles in.
Yeah, you would see Timber talking to a very tall drow woman up at the bar.
Oh,
Hi.
ki-
Making new friends?
Timber's eyes like widen for a second. He's like, "Oh shit, this is a drow." Do you guys want drinks? 2 drinks.
Sunny.
Sorry. Thank you, Katya.
Sunny.
What kind of drinks would you like?
Katya, can I have some whiskey, please?
Your name is Katya, darling.
Did I say Katya?
I'll go get
She
me
means
whiskey.
Sunny.
I-
Don't
I-
mind. She had a lot to drink.
No, I
I
didn't.
know. She was here last night. We got into a fight.
They deserved it. They were
It's
disrespecting
okay,
my culture.
Katya. We lost some silver on that bet. Would you like another meat pie?
Yes, please.
Eat pie.
Yes, meat
They're-
pies.
They're delicious.
Hey, Kieran! Is this the slob the lady outside told you to find?
Well, I'm very confused now. I thought I was looking for a kobold, but then it was a goblin, right, Roach?
Yeah.
But then that goblin said that there was a kobold, and now I'm just... Timber, Kaze, please, who are you speaking with here?
Oh, this is Katya. She is a kobold hunter. And,
Cobalt hunter. And proud one. That.
Ah, a kobold hunter, and
Yes.
excuse me, I'm not familiar with the customs down here. What exactly is a kobold hunter?
I believe the simplest way to say it is monster hunter. I hunt monsters and big ones.
You hunt monsters?
Yes, I do.
Well, well, well. That can prove quite helpful in our adventures to the south.
she-
Really?
She might be able to guide us.
I absolutely can guide you.
Whilst-
Wiswick gets closer to her and stares her down as hard, like with an angry face.
I look down.
Listen here, Missy. You might be a big shot in this crappy town, but we're high rollers from up north, and we've been through hell getting here. We killed some cultists.
Well, I've been through hell in Scarlet, but I don't think you've. Never mind. I'm sorry.
Right. We've gone through some shit, and we're not gonna take any sass from anybody.
You say that like I haven't. Do you want the guide or not?
Excuse our little friend here. Yes, Katya, is it? We are in dire need of assistance, and I'm also told you can help us find the Pale Covenant.
I might-
Somebody who's willing to pay for their scalps.
What?
What?
It's a turn of phrase. I'm trying to act tough here, Kira.
Wiswick, there's no need to act tough. We are heroes of. Well, and we were the Wayward. Okay, maybe we do need to act a little tough at the moment.
No, we don't need to act tough. She does not need intimidating.
Yep.
She's very willing to help us by the sound of it. Katya,
Yes.
what is your price?
Well, there were days when I would take hundreds of gold. Hundreds.
Sure.
But nobody respects the Cobalt Hunters anymore. So I take what I can get.
Well, if I may, before we hire you, there's 3 things we will need from you.
Oh, an interview.
Yes, well, we should only pick the best, right, to guide us?
She's standing
3
right
things. Did you think of all 3 things, or is there one for each of us?
I had 3 things, but if there's something you want to add, go ahead.
There's 9 things that you have to pack.
She completely ignores Wisdom and looks at Kieran.
Our primary goal here is to enter the Fields of Glass and find a Tabaxi cleric. He would have a staff similar to mine. And then Kieran goes to motion for it and realizes that he doesn't have it on him. And he goes, well, it's...
What staff? You don't have one.
Right, I apologize. I'll show it to you later. We're looking for Tabaxi with a staff. If you have any knowledge of followers of the Crescent Heart, Ilyuvania. Do you?
Do I?
Give me a religion check with advantage.
First roll the new character. Oh, it was almost a natural 20. First one's 15. Second one's 19.
Oh wow.
Not bad.
What was the total? Sorry.
19. Perhaps give me a moment to think. I don't want to drink.
You have not heard the term Crescent Heart before, or Ilyuvania. Doesn't mean that you don't know about gods in the Beastlands, but you've never heard of Ilyuvania.
I do not know this term, Crescent Heart, but I know of what you speak.
Followers of a moon deity.
Ah,
You have heard of the moon groves in the Fields of Glass, pockets of oases where there are worshippers of a moon goddess.
have I ever been there?
You haven't been there, but you've learned a little bit about them back in your monastery. And if anyone knows about them, Ankala does.
Okay. Well, that was one thing. What is the next one?
In addition to that, we need to procure some glands of the sand lurkers. I'm sure you're familiar with them, the large worms.
Yeah, quite.
As a monster hunter, I assume you can hunt them with us.
Absolutely.
Phenomenal. And then, finally, do you know of the Glass Titan?
Do I know of the glass?
Everyone knows about the Glass Titan.
Everyone knows about the glass titan.
Of
So
course, but finding it.
different story, but I'm a good tracker.
I'm sold. Gentlemen, if you have anything else.
Did I pass the interview?
What monastery were you from?
That is called the Leviathan Order up in the Dufferin Bluffs.
Hmm.
I would say now, Timber, you think, oh, that's right. Leviathan Order, monster hunters. That's right. You don't know a lot about them, but you know that they are a monastery that exists in the south.
Got it.
Ever been to the Underdark?
No.
You know about the drow there?
No.
You've never even heard of the Underdark.
I've never even heard of this Underdark.
Likely story.
Ignore him. You're hired. Here's a deposit. And
Oh.
Timber throws down 10 gold.
Pretty good
Cheers.
deposit, Tatia, considering you spent all your gold last night.
Whoa.
Wow,
Timber-
so Scarlet dies a popper and Katya starts as one.
That was not lost on me.
And Timber just looks back and just goes back to his ale.
Thank you.
And the meat pies come.
Trust me, friend. These are the best meat pies you'll ever eat.
I don't
I've
eat
had three.
meat.
Where are you going to today?
It smells very nice too.
Would you say, Timber?
Sunny,
I said, well, you're going to today, kid.
If you don't eat, if you
I wanted to imagine that I mage hand a little bit of the meat pie and do like little airplane to get.
No!
Choo-choo!
No! I don't want any!
It is gator meat, if that makes any, that helps at all.
You know, I was a crocodile for a short time. Twice.
that makes it the meat pie more disturbing to you.
I used to be a dog.
You all kind of relax for a moment, eat a little, drink a little with this new friend. We'll have you get to know her a little more next session. But the door bursts open, and Katya, you hear a familiar voice behind you all. Katya!
No. No.
You see this little Axelborn waddles up to her.
It is too early for this. What?
You
What?
left last night so late at the mud house and you
Yeah.
couldn't find you.
Well, I'm right. I can't look at the screen right now. I'm right here.
We were worried sick about you.
I'm fine. I'm. Abs, you
Who are
can
your
see-
friends?
Okay.
Well,
new job.
hello there.
New job. Lollop. New job.
Hi there, my name is Lollop.
He holds a hand out to you to shake his hand.
Huron reaches down to
It's
shake it.
slick.
Oh. Hi there. Hello, Lollop, is it? I'm Kiron. A pleasure. Are you acquaintance of Katya's?
I'm Katya's best friend.
Acquaintance is the perfect way to put it, yes.
Right.
Who are you?
He looks up to Timber.
I'm... he just takes one big swig.
Yeah. Okay.
My name is Timber.
Nice to meet you, Timber. My name is Lollop.
are you? Nice to meet you, Lullab. Are you Katya's?
Best friend.
Acquaintance. We just went over this acquaintance.
Huron leans over to Timber.
Is he part of your crew?
No.
This guy's like about 4 feet tall. He's got this very light pink skin. He's got these axolotl like feather gills coming off of his head that every time he breathes in, and he often breathes in like a child trying to tell a story. You know, like when they're like, and then I was over there. And he's wearing just like leather clothes, but he has like a lot of seashells and gathered driftwood all over in this like kind of like fishing net that he wears as kind of like a shawl over his shoulders. And he turns over to Wiswick, who is somewhat a little bit shorter than him, I think, actually. And he goes, "Who are you?"
Wiswick, Bilgru, Farlight, Yellen, Jedry, Pedry, Netherrock. Pleased to make your acquaintance.
"I'm Lollop." Goes to shake your hand.
To answer your
Wiswick
question,
shakes his hand with both of his hands. He says, "A pleasure to meet you, Lollop." And then
"Pleasure to
pulls
meet
him
you,
in-
Wiswick,
of course,
Bilgru, Netherrock, Jetri, Petri,
Yellen,
Yellen."
Ellen.
Fargru.
Pretty much got them all. Just missed the order right. He pulls him in really close and he says, "Look, I'm really concerned about your well-being, friend. That woman is not to be trusted."
Oh my god.
That's nonsense. Katya's my best friend. She's the nicest person in town.
Thank you, Lola. There are some people who would
I
disagree.
kind of just like, I'm still holding onto his hand and I'm shaking it slower now and I'm like, "Right. Okay, I trust you."
He pulls himself up onto a stool next to Katya and says, "Well, if you're travelers and you're looking for someone to guide you around, she's great. She's a monster hunter, something fierce. She killed a whole pack of correspond the other day. I saw her bring them into town."
Correspond?
Yes, correspond. They're these creatures that they trail this bloody mess behind them wherever they go. And they have this
You guys saw
flesh.
one outside of town.
Not pleasant.
For those
think
at
we're
home,
familiar.
Lollop is an Axelborn, a homebrew race of axolotl folk.
And apparently he's my best friend.
They don't all talk this ridiculously, but pretty close to it.
Well, thank you, Lollop. That is a very kind and very warm introduction.
And as you sit with your new guide, Katya, and her best friend or associate, Lollop, the Axelborn, that is where we're going to end tonight. We'll pick up next week in the Laughing Serpent Tavern as you plan your quest onward.
Man.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight for this very up and down session, emotional-wise and serious versus hilarious vibe. We are Shannon. While I'm going over programming, could you find someone for us to raid?
Got it.
Okay.
2 arms, chat. 2 arms.
2
We
arms.
will raid.
2 arms.
2 arms.
We shall
So,
raid.
thank you for joining us for Advantage in Paradise. We've got programming throughout the week. Please join us for that. Tomorrow is the return of Shadows in the Mist, a presentation from Jasper's Game Day that we are hosting. A pre-recorded show. It's got Duval in it that me and Shannon watch every Tuesday night with y'all in chat. So come join us for the fun there. It's at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard tomorrow night. Come join me for Relaxing in Paradise this week, where I will have a guest on, Timber, Alex, who will be we'll be talking about his new module he wrote, or supplement that he wrote and is working on, that is for player-made traps, which is very exciting, which is also a precursor to a subclass he might be working on. It'll be very exciting. So come join us as we chat about that, talk about how that works, answer questions from chat. I might also maybe paint a mini, but most likely I'll talk to Alex and then go right into playing Mass Effect Legendary Edition. So join me for
Ooh.
that.
Oh yes.
That is Thursday night at 8:30 p.m. Friday night, Shannon and I are in the Scales Above campaign over on Roll for Damage. We are on the last 2 episodes, I believe, is what's coming up.
Yep.
There's going to be a very exciting guest. We will be playing with Joe Cat this week.
I won't be
Uh,
there.
Shannon will not be there, but Joe Cat will
I'll
be
be
us
there
with
next week.
for this Friday and next Friday's episode, the season finale.
Oh, he'll be there for the
Exciting.
finale too?
I'm pretty sure he'll be there for 2.
Excellent.
And then next One Shot in Paradise is on May 29th. We have finalized the cast. You'll see some announcements of that on the socials. Should be very exciting. Correct me if I'm wrong, but we will be playing the adventure from Scry Society, correct?
Yes, we will. Into the mist.
It's very exciting. So check that out. It should be very fun and very exciting. We can't wait to see you there. Have a lovely evening, everyone. We are going to raid our friends over at Fateful Encounters. But have a lovely evening. We love you all. Thanks for joining us. Join us again for all this lovely programming, or at the very least next week, to see how Katya integrates with the Wayward Five, or I guess the Wayward Three.
No.
Doodles!
Good night. Good night, everybody.
Doodles!
Numbers.